Hey guys, welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We are your hosts, Leah and Michelle. The camera looks fuzzy to me. Maybe I'm just saying things. All right, today is the 10th of August, 2018. We haven't been going live all week. For those of you that are unaware, and I know that many of you are aware, and I want to start with this so that you guys can know. Grandma Marilyn went home to be with Jesus on the 8th in the evening.
We just left.
We had literally just left the room. And here's the deal, guys. I want you all to know, and I want to take this opportunity to let you know that even though we are grieving and it hasn't sunk in, and of course you find yourself in scenarios where something happens and then you're just a blubbering mess, she went to heaven. And there was a glorious celebration when she got there. And so that's the message that we have at Resistance Chicks to give to you guys. We're not going to give you we're not going to come to you live when we're a blubbering mess. We're going to give you that message of hope that no matter where you are, whatever you're doing, if you've had a loved one that has passed away and they knew Jesus, there is a victory party in heaven when they get there. So I want you guys to focus on that, and you can have it too. So anyway, we are very excited to come back to you after kind of what feels like I miss you guys. Like when we don't go live, I feel like I'm missing a part of my family. So I'm really happy to be back. And to be here with you guys and spend this Friday evening with you. We've got a lot of news.
Yeah, we have a lot of news, but first of all, I want to tell you guys about, yesterday was really funny. Michelle ran into somebody, and I'm not going to say where, because it could jeopardize their job, but if you wouldn't mind telling them about your meeting with a friend of ours, and just kind of the cool things that, you guys talked about just randomly.
Sure.
And I'll tell you mine first, as you think about that.
Okay. I'm thinking I want to tell him where, because I want to tell him what I did.
I know, but I thought that
I'll tell you what I did later, and maybe you won't put two and two together. How about at the end of the show, I'll tell him.
No, don't tell him where you were, because I feel like
I'm not going to tell him where I was, but I want to tell him. I want to tell him what I did. That's separate.
Okay.
Tell him at the end of the show.
Okay, so I also was getting feed for my animals, and this is not going to jeopardize anybody's job.
No.
And so I came across a teenager, and they were putting feed into the back of my van, animal feed, and we have an InfoWars bumper sticker on the back of our van, but you can't really see it because the van
is behind the tinted
glass.
Right?
But he's like, "Oh my gosh, InfoWars!" And he started to go on. He's like, can you believe what they're doing to Alex Jones? And he's like, I downloaded the app, and that's what we're going to talk to you guys about. Download the app, if for no other reason than to stick it to the leftist liberals.
Right.
Because what has happened with the downloading of this app, everybody... here's the thing. I am having withdrawals because I listen to Alex Jones, and if I read,
I haven't downloaded the app. We're going to do it right now. While Leah's talking.
If I read the things about Alex Jones and how he's a dirty human bag, and he's a dirty human,
dirty human bag.
Yeah, and he's a garbage human, like Ben Shapiro says it. If I just read what people said about him, then I might believe them.
All right. So here's how you're going to do this. Let me flip over so I can see if I'm showing you correctly. All right. So I'm at the Play Store. This is for Android. You know, Apple got rid of the app. So this is really only for Android users. You might switch from Apple to Android just to get the InfoWars app. All right, so here I am with the InfoWars official. It's had 100,000 downloads.
But it
seems like it's number 2 in top free news and magazines.
Yeah.
And I'm installing it right now. Carry on.
So the kid is telling me how he loves InfoWars. He watched Paul Joseph Watson. He loves Millie Weaver, and every time we meet anybody who talks about Millie Weaver, they're she's the most beautiful girl I've ever met. You never met this person, but it's so hilarious.
That was a really fast download. There it is. Okay, so here I am.
So
switch back here.
I would go to Ron Gibson channel. I don't know who the dude is, Ron Gibson, but he used to break down Alex Jones's channel into 4 hours commercial free, right?
So this is them going right now, maybe.
I don't know, or that was probably the program from today.
So we've got the real news. We've got the war room.
And so I was starting to go a little bit crazy. Where am I going to find, after Ron's Gibson channel was taken down, it was brought back up. And
it's linked to their website. It's got news. Literally, you can go down to the bottom and you can, we were just on their website. So all of that is on their website.
Right.
That's really awesome.
And they keep hammering this stupid Sandy Hook thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they say it's hate speech or whatever, but it's okay because our government has done a lot of bad things.
Yeah.
And there are people who do need to expose government things, and when you find out, okay, that wasn't the truth, he's backed off of it.
Right.
It should be over.
Right.
He should say, no, I said they did die, but there did look like there was some anomalies there in the beginning, right? And that's okay to call these things out.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you CNN had some fake news on today. I'll show you a clip of that. But what's happening with the Alex Jones censorship is it's actually made a lot of people who hate him come out and defend him. And I think the New York Times here has a thing, literally, I don't know if good publicity, I don't know if they understand what they're doing. Because I have a graphic here somewhere of showing here. I have this graphic where Paul Joseph Watson shows you the searches for InfoWars website rose 1,300% in the past 7 days.
Okay, so I want to show you guys something. I was watching YouTube earlier today, and a video popped up for Joe Rogan's about Alex Jones. Now, he mentioned the Streisand effect. And the guy he was interviewing with about Alex was like, what's the Streisand effect? It's a phenomenon whereby an attempt to hide, remove, or censor a piece of information has the unintended consequence of publicizing the information more widely, usually facilitated by the internet. I'm guessing, the way he explained it to me was she was trying to hide where her house was, and somebody exposed it, and so then she made this massive big deal about it, and then everybody all of a sudden knew where her house was. And so that's kind of where we're suffering from the Streisand effect, where they're trying to say what he did was so wrong and people shouldn't listen to it, and now people are going, well, hang on, what about Sandy Hook? And they're digging deeper, and they're watching Alex Jones, which I think is incredible. It's exciting.
Right,
Rogue
exactly.
Hair, speaking of rogue.
So Nigel Farage tweeted this out. We need a social media bill of rights to protect free speech online. And Mike Cernovich, he tweeted out this New York Times thing, which basically calls Alex Jones, he should have been censored for hate speech. But hate speech means what?
Right.
And I read a lefty liberal article today that said things like, well, does that mean that all pro-Palestinian people, because arguably they could be labeled hate speech?
Oh, for sure.
So, and I have actually...
Oh my gosh, they hate Israel probably more than anybody, any group of people that I can think that hates another person. Like, seriously, it's as bad, if not worse, than like the KKK hating the blacks. That you guys don't understand how much the Palestinians hate Israel.
The Jews, but I would never ban those ideas from the internet. Now, I might not want them in my feed, and I have a Facebook page.
Although, I don't know, I have to disagree with you a little bit. If they are calling for the death of people,
right?
Okay,
that's
not hate speech. That is death threats. Exactly. So you have to find some sort of like middle, not even middle ground. You have to find some sort of truth that this hate speech has just gone way out of proportion.
If an action is deemed to be criminal, you take criminal actions. But I don't actually think they should be scrubbed from the internet. Because if you don't know what other people are saying, if you don't know, like, I want to know what these terrorists are saying. I want to know what the extremist propaganda is saying to people.
What are they putting out?
So it's a really tricky thing. But Alex Jones isn't putting out extremist content.
Right.
They call him alt-right. He's just...
He's not calling for the death of anyone. Let's start there.
So, but here's the thing. They go from Sandy Hook to vaccines.
Yeah.
Vaccines, really? Really? He talks that vaccines are dangerous, so he should be censored. So seriously?
So now we're censoring, like, thought.
Yes.
Because you have to be able to question the safety of anything, okay?
Any drug, especially, or any food or anything.
Exactly. So this is, now we're going back to the gag order of John Quincy Adams, where they're literally saying you can't talk. When Trump got into office, one of the first things that he did was was it Robert Kennedy?
Robert Kennedy Jr.
Jr. the kind of oversight of looking into vaccine safety. Why? Because they had issues with Barron Trump. You know? So This is something that we have to be able to discuss, whether you agree with it or whether you disagree with it. If you all of a sudden slam it and say it can't even be talked about, then you have something to hide.
So this goes on to another subject here where YouTube is actually, quote, fighting back against climate misinformation.
Okay.
So this is from BuzzFeed. The company is trying to combat scientific misinformation on its platform. Wikipedia has been helping the streaming platform describe topics like global warming, the MMR vaccine, and UFOs.
Wow.
And YouTube is now adding fact checks.
Because now we put the MMR vaccine in the same category as being as wild as UFOs, by the way.
As saying that it might not be safe.
Right.
The YouTube is now adding fact checks to videos that question climate change. BuzzFeed News has confirmed, as part of its ongoing effort to combat the rampant misinformation, conspiratorial fodder on its platform.
Wow.
I'm wondering, like, if they're going to now go on to Jesus rose from the dead. Was that a conspiracy?
Yeah, because now we can't talk about that. That cannot be on YouTube.
On July 9th, the company added a blurb of text underneath some videos about climate change, which provided a scientifically accurate explainer. The text comes from Wikipedia entry for global warming and states that multiple lines of scientific evidence show that the climate system is warming.
Wow.
So we now have the thought police out in full force.
Now, it sounds silly when you say, so I'm sharing this on Facebook Live because we're still unable to stream on Facebook Live right now. It sounds funny when you say the thought police because my entire life, that was just somebody that came in and didn't want you to think a certain way. But we're talking about literal police, essentially, coming in and shutting something down and telling you literally are not allowed to think a certain way or you go to jail. That's where we're getting.
So we would never hear about the babies in incubator lie if people hadn't dug for the truth.
Right.
And so this new YouTube announcement in March that it would place descriptions from Wikipedia, which is basically edited by people.
Right.
It's not a scientific authority.
Anybody can contribute to Wikipedia, by the way.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that.
Yeah. And the Encyclopedia Britannica, next to videos on topics that spur conspiracy theories, such as the moon landing and the Oklahoma City bombing. In doing the same for climate videos, the company seems to be wading into more fraught and complex intellectual territory. I'd guess that it will have some influence, at least on those people who don't know much about the subject. It might be confusing to some people, but that's probably better than just accepting the denier video at face value. YouTube has not disclosed the full list of topics it's targeting. What about Mohammed? Was he real? Can we? Are you going to totally
the only part of it? No. Because YouTube probably has no problem banning Mohammed on YouTube. You know what of Mohammed they ban? Pictures of him, because that is against Islam. So they have to at least censor that. Like if it's somebody on an opposing view that's doing pictures of Muhammad, they have to come down.
So a Wikipedia post to its administrators in mid-July offers some clues, listing 7 topics the company was helping clarify. Wikipedia. I'm not talking about a group of intellectual professors across the globe or anything like that. Like top scientists or top researchers or top professors.
Right.
Wikistinkipedia.
Yeah.
You might as well have Snopes, which they do, and the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is a hate group itself.
Right.
Global warming, and I have no idea what Dolce Base is, or Lila Saltz something, and the 1980s Camarate air crash, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, and the Kecksburg UFO incident, and the MMR vaccine. I love how the MMR vaccine is now being... Wikipedia, who I'm sure are great, awesome scientists, doctors, who can talk about these things, who can for sure tell you,
absolutely,
go ahead and stab your kid with that mercury. The 2 organizations appear to be working closely since the launch of YouTube's policy, which Wikipedia did not know about in advance. Wikipedia didn't know about it, but that YouTube was taking its information.
Right.
Google, which owns YouTube, has struggled to excise misinformation from its platforms. In November 2017, it tried to feature that fact-check descriptions of newspapers and other items that appear in search results, but suspended in January after some mistakes triggered complaints. When the new Wikipedia blurb policy took effect in July, YouTube did not publicly say that climate change was an impacted topic, and the company did not notify users who had uploaded the affected videos. I'm sure... You know what, guys? YouTube used to be a really fun place. Yeah. Because everybody wanted to watch the next conspiracy video.
Right.
We all did. That's why you're here.
here's the beauty. I want to interrupt this while I'm thinking of it.
Conspiracy theory, if it's not a conspiracy theory if it's the truth.
Exactly. Good news is, maybe I'll just wait. No, you can get to it later if you're going to. Mike Adams has a new platform.
Yeah.
And we're going to get to that. We're going to show you guys how to access it. They are putting out Alex Jones videos right now, right? And Leah feels like that it may be the next big thing and that YouTube might go the way of MySpace.
We'll see. Prager University, you guys probably watch Prager University videos. They're just like these little 5-minute blurbs on things. And they have one on climate change, which is like age protected or something. And someone from their organization said, despite claiming to be a public forum and a platform to open to all, YouTube is clearly a left-wing organization.
Yes.
This is just another mistake in a long line of giant missteps that erodes America's trust in big tech. So what happened was they force-fed us their line through print paper and through television. Mm-hmm. And when the internet came about, a lot of people who had researched books and things were able to get their information out. They started to make really great videos.
You know what this is like? Well, it's kind of like when the church had control of the Bible and they could disseminate the word of God to all of the people. And then all of a sudden,
we are the authority from God.
And then everybody gets the word of God into their own hands. And it's like, whoa, hang on a second.
Well, great Christians. John Bunyan was put in prison for religious principles, for his own, for straying from the King of England, from the Church of England's. The Pilgrims left.
Right. So the
England, so they could, they had the church, right? They had Christianity.
Right.
But they weren't able to operate a Christianity according to the principles, their own mind, their own conscience.
The devil doesn't like it when he can't feed you his false lines and you start researching the truth. And you have access to it. And that is what we were finding out. The devil thought that for those of you that are unaware, the devil's supposed to be the prince of the power of the air, right? That's what he thinks he rules the internet because this is supposed to be his deal. And then all of a sudden, just like God always does, turns it on his head and said, here you go, children of God, find out the truth for yourself. And they're scared.
They're a little bit worried because the same climate blurb has been seen on not just conspiracy videos, but on climate science videos. It was surprised when we saw it show up on videos that are not conspiracy videos, but just climate science videos. This Hansen guy polled the audience about YouTube's fact checking, and the result was largely positive. It's probably a good thing, especially the videos with misleading science. Science is not settled. You guys, we're always learning new things about science.
They're like doctors. It should be called practicing science.
Climate science. Practicing. Yeah, all these leftist weirdo scientists. They're actually. The new messaging to the warning label, like basically comparing it to like a warning label on cigarettes. Warning, this video may or may not be promoting actual facts about climate change. Because your mind could be just as polluted. This is absolutely insane. This is one thought. These people, you've got to think our way. 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 It's just like if you were telling people you have to believe in Jesus. You have to believe in Jesus.
And I was actually just about to say that because all of these people on the left fought so hard, okay, to be able to think for themselves, quote unquote, and to not have morality thrust upon them by a societal example or what you're taught, and you can't tell me what's right or wrong. You can't tell me what truth is.
You can't
Only
be homosexual.
I know what truth is.
You can't be homosexual. You can't be homosexual.
Exactly.
You can't be homosexual.
So all of these people fought so hard to have free thought and to not be put into a box of someone else tells us what is right or wrong. Right. And now the pendulum has shifted the other way, and they are asking to be bound into these chains of, please tell me how to think. Please don't let anybody tell us something that's not true. When nobody knows what truth is outside of Jesus Christ. You can't. And it's ridiculous because there's
absolutely no way
foundation.
So like a lot of scientists do combat like the climate change, so they go back and forth, right? So they have their own scientific data. There's absolutely no way that a Wikipedia can go over a scientist's data that their own tests, their own hypothesis, their own figures. There's no way Wikipedia can look at that and say, well, science at such and such university, scientists, that you were wrong.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scientists who
Yeah.
come out and say things, but they're
Yeah.
actually literally shutting up people with
Right.
degrees in
See,
science.
what happens whether you're talking creation versus evolution, whether you're talking climate change versus not, you have the same amount of information. Every scientist is given the same facts, the same information, and they take it and they utilize their information and they interpret it as best they can with the knowledge that they have, and they come together with a
So
presentation.
what about the two genders?
It is
Scientifically, there are only
Right.
two genders. So I wonder if somebody comes up and they make a video, not to interrupt you, but they make a video saying, I'm a female
right,
trapped in a male's body.
right.
Are they going to put up a blurb that says, scientifically, it's
That's a good
impossible.
question.
Your DNA is your DNA. Like,
Right.
But no, in
This
that
might be
respect, you're
promoting
allowed to
false
go by
science.
what you feel.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly. I feel like a 23-year-old. I'm 34. I really think that I should be able to just put that out there for people. I mean, I really think that that should be a fact. And I think that people should take that seriously. And yet, scientifically, that's impossible. You age. But no, I feel on the inside, and I think most of us do, like a 23-year-old. And so I should be able to put that on my driver's license. I should be able to put that on anything that I want to, because that's how I feel. But yet, scientifically, that is incorrect. And so we have what we've done is we have this double standard of, on one hand, you can say what you feel, and that can be a fact. And on the other hand, you can't.
So let's read some comments. Some vaccines that are popping up in recent history seem to be money-making things. Some vaccines in history are very important. And I understand, but that can be a debate that we can talk about.
Right.
Our mom is still alive today, and her whole generation was alive today, and she had like 3 vaccines.
Yeah.
You and I had like 10,
roughly.
and now there's 41.
And by
these-
like 2030, and I'm not going to get these facts right, but by some sort of in the near future date, they want to have something like 95 vaccines on the schedule. Somebody can get these facts for me.
And a
but
lot
like,
about with the measles, mumps, and rubella, they put 3 in 1, and a lot of these kids are having horrible reactions.
Right.
Not necessarily to the measles or to the mumps or to the rubella,
Right.
but to the mercury within the vaccines.
Bingo.
And putting them all together in one. When we watch the movie Vaxxed, you cannot go against somebody saying, a parent saying, my child was vaccinated and then started having seizures the very
Or that
day
night.
or that night.
And so then another issue with the vaccines, and this is totally scientific, is the fact that the parent then takes this child to the doctor, says this happened with the vaccine. The doctors always say, no, it had nothing to do with the vaccine. This is totally random. Let me put your kid on antibiotics. Do not ever, ever, ever let a doctor put your child on antibiotics until you have spoken to a homeopathic doctor. I'm not kidding. Because what antibiotics do to a young child can mess up their gut and cause autism, okay? You guys have no idea how dangerous antibiotics are for children. So a lot of times what we see with these vaccines is the kid has an adverse reaction to the vaccine that may not be debilitating, may not even cause autism, and then the doctor mistreats it. And so the fact that we can't have these open discussions
And like moms and dads who have these children with these issues
are
shut
told that they're
up
lies,
and
that
put
they're
in the
liars,
corner.
and they have no idea what they're talking about. You just don't
Exactly.
know your own kid. This is completely random.
My child was perfectly fine. They
Right.
got the vaccine. They're a healthy 2-year-old. They were vaccinated the very next
Right.
day. They went into a comatose state.
Right.
Don't tell me it was random.
So why are we talking about this? We're talking about this because this is one of those things that they want to censor. They want to squash the opposing opinion. Why? Because Big Pharma is behind it. So we can trace all of these things back to money, okay? Every single thing goes back to money and power.
And the fact that the companies they can't be sued. You have to go
Right.
to a vaccine court.
And you know who pays the vaccine court?
We do.
If it is proven in vaccine court that the vaccine caused your child an issue, and there's going to be a payout of $75,000, $100,000, whatever it's going to be, the Big Pharma companies, the drug manufacturer company that issued that drug doesn't pay a single dime. They don't even pay into it like an insurance company. They pay nothing. The American people
There's no
pay the
incentive
vaccine court. So
for
there
the
is there's literally zero incentive,
Zero
for safety.
liability
And
for
so
harming
when
children.
Robert Kennedy comes to the table and says, listen, we're going to look into vaccine safety. Why is he shut down? Why does Wikipedia say that the MMR vaccine is the same as UFOs? Because it has to do with money. And that is only half of the conspiracy theory that we are talking about. And I would just call it a conspiracy. The other half of it is they are literally trying to make us sick and dumb us down and make our kids this way.
Yeah. So, yeah, antibiotics can cause all kinds of things. But look at this, guys. There is some good news.
Media should not be multi-corporate owned, says Magic Girl. Well said.
Thank you. Yeah. Read some comments. I'm sure people have a lot of things to say. They're just as angry as we are. Alex Jones says that 5.6 million new InfoWars subscribers since Big Tech blacklisting. Now, what I'm really excited about this is that Breitbart wrote this article in a positive way for Alex Jones, because during the 2016 election, everybody was working together. Breitbart worked with Alex Jones. Alex Jones was at the top of his game. Everybody was coming on Alex Jones' show. That's why they had to bring him down, because Alex had everyone on his show. Rand Paul, Ron Paul, Tony Schaefer. He's with the military. He would bring on all these people, and everybody would go on there. So that's why they have to bring down Alex Jones, because there is no one like him.
Exactly.
There's no show like Alex Jones.
Bradbury says, I think YouTube, Facebook, Google, and Twitter should be designated as public utilities. This was hashed out on the Joe Rogan. I'm not telling anybody they should watch the show. The guy's totally foul-mouthed and kind of crazy. But on that show today about Alex Jones, this was hashed out. And I really liked both sides of this. But really the answer is there is no other option other than Facebook. There is no other option other than YouTube. There really aren't any other options other than Google as a search engine, because you have the iPhone and you have Android. And as soon as you sign into Android, it's complete. Everything is linked through Google. It is a monopoly. There is no choice. Now, Mike Adams, we'll get to this a little bit later in the program, has an alternative. But until a legitimate alternative pops up, they are a public utility because it's all that anybody ever uses.
So when we get more time, we are going to go ahead and we are not on Mike Adams' Reel. It's Reel.video. It's very simple to remember, but I can't ever remember it. And I want to get us up and going on Reel.video because I have a good feeling about this. I have a gut feeling because that we were on VidMe, and that's how we found it. So what? We found some other people, and it stayed like here, right? Yeah. But they didn't have passion like Mike Adams has passion. And they didn't have the passion like InfoWars has passion. And InfoWars has is teaming up with Mike Adams right now. And I think it's a really great thing because Mike Adams, he gets Alex Jones. Okay, more than Alex Jones gets Mike Adams.
Oh, for sure.
I love them both. They're totally two different people. Like Kansas can handle Mike Adams saying the same exact things that Alex Jones says,
and I think a lot of people can.
Well, and Mike Adams is your more traditional Christian, more hey, you're going to meet him at church. You're not going to see Alex Jones in your church, and that's okay. He's a different kind. He's a church for the unchurched, and that's the kind of people we are. We're actually more church for unchurched people than because we grew up in the church, and that's boring for us. But I'm not saying that Mike Adams is boring. Don't get me wrong.
I love him. He's great.
But you guys, he's just two different personalities for two different kinds of people, and that's what we need. Okay? I actually adore Mike Adams.
He is like an Einstein, and that's why he is the perfect person to come up with this platform.
Oh my gosh.
I'm so glad that he's done it.
This is hilarious. I'm just reading the title. Hey, vegans, your vegan cheese is made with dairy protein. That's hilarious.
I love Mike Adams. Oh my gosh, he's so great.
Gotten going yet the way I think it's going to go. I think this
Can you live stream on there yet? It's in its infancy.
I don't know yet. I don't know yet. I think you have to request an invitation to get started. Okay. He says, Reel.video is a new destination for free speech. No shadow banning, no tracking of viewers, no long ads, 300 plus new channels joining daily, 1.5 million video minutes served each week. Like I said, when we get a second, we're gonna start uploading. We upload on BitChute right now. We're gonna keep doing BitChute, and I think because there were some others, we kind of stopped doing all the others because it gets to be too much.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna do 3 platforms right now: Reel.video, BitChute, and
if I can get a hold of Facebook and get them, we can still live stream there. But I have to get our permission back to do that.
You've got it was really kind of frustrating because I couldn't find Alex Jones, and you're gonna see all kinds. This is where you're gonna go to get who you need to see. Okay, who you're gonna need to see, and I'm
hoping that we can do longer videos because these all look really short.
Yeah, right now Alex Jones is putting them up in just little pieces, and so you're not going to get all of Alex Jones, which is what's frustrating is that YouTube held everything
And there's an answer for that. For those of you that are not technologically savvy, the servers that it takes to house and to run and to process these videos is massive. So there's a reason why they have to limit. Well, so I'm kind of thinking, you know what I would really like to do? And this is just an idea. If we do get a chance to go to real.video, you guys may get more content from us. And here's why. What we may do are separate little short videos that we can upload, and we'll go ahead and upload them to YouTube too, but like catching videos so that we can grab the audience that's at real.video and we can kind of build a stronger viewer base. And this might be a really good thing for Resistance Chicks if we do it.
Hire someone else to do our media.
No, you're not. I'm just talking about like we're on our dog walks. Do a video right there. Catch people on a hot topic, which we've been meaning to do that for a while and haven't. So
all right, so I want to bring up this. I want to go over this one a little bit more. How is Alex Jones claiming 5.6 million people have subscribed to his free InfoWars newsletter and podcast over the last 48 hours?
That's amazing.
These 48 hours have been crucial for Jones as the big tech monopolies and left-wing news outlets like CNN, BuzzFeed have joined forces to blacklist and erase InfoWars from the public square. Jones and InfoWars have had their accounts canceled, have been effectively purged and erased from YouTube, Facebook, Apple, LinkedIn. Like LinkedIn is just like you have a job, but there's nothing there. It's just
it's ridiculous.
A resume. Spotify, Stitcher, and Pinterest. Even the emailing service MailChimp blacklisted Jones in what has been a highly effective and coordinated media big tech campaign to silence a vocal Trump supporter. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Jones said Wednesday, "The good news is InfoWars has had the highest traffic it's ever had. 5.6 million new subscribers in the past 48 hours, and so has my radio show." He added, "Deplatforming doesn't do anything. We already have subscribers. It doesn't do very much." On YouTube, Jones reportedly had 2.2 million subscribers. Jones claims these new subscribers are more than make up for the loss of that platform. "The loss we've had on various platforms has been way compensated by millions of new subscribers and visitors to our website, the mobile app, to our free podcast. We've never had this much people signing up for our newsletter, podcast, video feeds. They're all hitting subscribe, subscribe, subscribe."
So now we're back to that Streisand effect all over again. It's gotten worse.
Jones believes the onslaught of media and online censorship against him has backfired in his favor. "Even if I was ever defeated from other places around the world, victory is going to come. This fight for human liberty is unstoppable. People understand what's happening, and we're going to go on to the end, whatever the cost is. We're never going to surrender."
Never surrender! Goonies never say die! InfoWars is going to spread like wildfire.
Jones also claims, and not without merit, that he is merely a test case. It's very dangerous for everybody else, but for me, who has been chosen as a sacrificial lamb, there's a big effect. And Senator Chris Murphy, a Democrat from Connecticut, he actually called for entire websites to be shut down.
Oh my God!
In the wake of the InfoWars blacklist, like going on the internet and just shutting down their website.
And that, you know what, guys, it sounds far-fetched, but we're not that far off because, again, I hate to go back to this little podcast I was listening to of Joe Rogan today talking about Alex Jones. One of the guys was like, well, at least he hasn't been scrubbed from the internet. Like, he's like, or I think it was even Joe that said, well, he still has his website and he can stream on there like as much as he wants, but because they haven't taken him off, like that was a possibility. Like, well, at least they've let him stay on the internet. Since when do we have, you guys, the only time you're allowed to take anybody off the internet is child pornography. I mean, seriously. That's it. And then you go to jail. If somebody has to be taken off the internet, they got to go to jail for that, for whatever they have done.
It has to
all right? So if you can't put Jones in jail for him saying that Sandy Hook didn't happen,
which he has come back and said whatever it did happen.
Right. I mean, seriously, if somebody retracts what they said.
But you know what? You're allowed to have a website denying the Holocaust.
Yeah.
You're allowed to have a website that denies...
And that's fake news.
That, Jesus Christ is Lord. You're allowed to have a website that...
Yeah, and that's fake news.
That denies anything. You're allowed to have these denying websites. So on more than one occasion, the anti-Trump channel CNN has tried to have President Trump banned from Twitter. And you've got Chris Cuomo spread a wild conspiracy theory about Trump and the number 17. There's a lot of, like, if you Google and you watch the YouTube videos on CNN spreading conspiracy theories,
right?
Like, there's a lot.
Oh, what about the black hole that we talked about last week?
Right, exactly. Then there's the black hole
that swallowed up the airplane that went missing. Well, it was probably just a black hole. Mm-hmm. Really?
So I want to bring up, if I can, here we go.
Oh, hang on. We're stuck.
I don't know. She's just like can't sit still right now. Has she been outside in a while?
Well, she was just downstairs.
Oh,
Just brought her up.
she went outside.
I'll give her a treat.
All right. So here's the thing. This guy is a full-fledged socialist.
So you know what CNN has,
and he went on CNN, and CNN said that they were getting people who voted for Trump, and then they went back on it.
To see how they're feeling today, I sat down with a panel of people from California,
She is
Texas,
the biggest fake news
Ohio,
girl ever.
and New York, all of whom voted for Donald Trump. At one time, these folks were all on the same side, excited about this outsider running for president. But as you'll see, times have changed, and today some feel very differently. So here now, our next Pulse of the People.
You are.
How many of you are still just as excited today as you were on Election Day about President Trump?
Maybe more so.
And how many of you, the rest, would you say that you regret your votes? Raise your hands.
see that guy with the black shirt and blue tie right there? He's the only one that raises his hand saying that he absolutely regrets his vote. He's the one that openly, completely says that he completely regrets his vote. And he goes on to give a reason, and this is The Plant by CNN. Let's continue.
Jeremy, what do you regret about your vote?
In my mind, and the way I look at him now, I think he's a monster. I think he's a bigot. I think that he's doing a lot of things to ruin people's lives. I don't think that I think that he's taking this country in the wrong direction. And
are there any
it's a
specifics
terrifying
there that
time
he just
for me.
listed?
There you
Anything
go. He's a
specifically that he
bigot.
doesn't
He's
like?
a monster. He's taking this country in the wrong direction. He's ruining people's lives. Well, Mr. Jeremy, we know that you never voted for Trump and that CNN picked you to be a plant on this panel. Number one, we know this because of this post where you say that you're a socialist, and also from this post where you talked about the Las Vegas shooting and how we should be banning firearms.
I'm not talking about hunting rifles, even though, I mean, if I had to vote for them to be banned, absolutely. The guy that killed the 50 and the son of a fuck that killed Christina Grimmie, if they did
CNN
not
is playing in the
have
background.
access to those weapons, all of those disgusted.
His Twitter because people were figuring out book page. Now he also locked down his Twitter because people were figuring out who he really was. People have come out who've known this guy and said that this guy was never a Trump supporter. This guy never voted for Trump. He's a far-left socialist. He hates Trump. He hates guns, as you can see there. He doesn't.
Aren't voter records public?
You know, according to his video there, you can see, and according to some of the people that I've talked to,
You know what I mean?
that know this guy or have
I
known
don't think
this
you
guy
can
or
see
have
who they
encountered
voted
this guy.
for.
And also, he talked about the Orlando shooting that happened. Remember the nightclub where the
So you get the idea.
Yeah,
CNN
oh, yeah.
put a plant right there, and you know they do that. Like she does ban Alabed.
Yeah.
So this is going to come to backfire.
Incredible. Oh,
Totally
absolutely.
backfire. And here, this is actually from FT.com. Social media should sit out the panic over the, quote, alt-right. Alex Jones is not alt-right. There's a special little tiny group of weird white supremacist alt-right people.
Right.
Alex Jones is an alternative news source.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not alt-right. The article goes on to say the foes of Alex Jones and the rancid host of InfoWars.
So what do you think he's rancid? I think Howard Stern is rancid.
I know. How come he got to be a judge on America's Got Talent? He's a rancid,
He's
garbage
just a
human being.
he's a vile human being.
A website and talk show devoted to exposing the dangers of everything from the deep state to childhood vaccines. He's a rancid host who exposes the deep state and childhood vaccines. We must be pretty rancid. Are beginning to achieve the impossible. They are making him look respectable.
Right?
His enemies are. If they can shut me down, they can shut you down, Mr. Jones declares in a recent video that he aired on Snapchat. And he has a point. After disavowing responsibility for the content on their platforms for years, social media companies are scrambling to take action against, quote, hate speech and harassment. Exhibit A is Mr. Jones, and he goes on to say content was stripped, blah, blah, blah. Many liberals are cheering. The essay published on Salon declared kicking InfoWars off social media is a good start, blah, 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 blah. But to get our disinformation epidemic under control, more drastic measures need to be taken. We have given them an inch and they took a mile. We have given them an inch.
Right.
And they've taken a mile.
Yeah.
And it was a massive mistake.
Because all of our rights are bestowed to us not by our creator, but by our government.
Please, embarking on a crusade to suppress the right would menace the very democratic values its opponents purport to defend. They don't support democracy. That's the point. They're socialists. They're not Democrats.
Right.
They're not true Democrats in the idea of democracy, right? It would also help to confirm. And here's the thing about Democrats, right?
Okay.
It should be, okay, Democrats used to be for, not going back to the party, but their idea was, they formed into the Democrats of Clinton were, we believe in democracy. We just believe in getting people to vote our way so that we can take your stuff and redistribute stuff, okay, through democracy.
Right.
But we're a republic. We're not. That's why we're Republicans. But we're not Republicans, but we are Republican. That's why. Anyways,
So Adeline says that's a good question, Michelle. Are voter rolls public? Here's the thing.
voter rolls are public, but not who you vote for.
About 4 years ago, we all got cards in the mail, and I don't remember why, but it listed if we had voted Republican or Democrat in the last, like 3 or 4 elections, and they mailed these out to people. Like, we weren't doing resistance chicks at the time, or that totally would have been something we would have brought to you guys. But what I'm saying is they ought to be able to at least go back and find out if that guy voted Republican or Democrat in the election.
I thought they just said whether they voted or not.
No, it literally said whether they voted Republican or Democrat.
Or maybe they were registered.
No, it said they voted. I'm telling you.
Or maybe they voted in the primaries.
I'm just saying. I think they could find it out.
Okay. A better model to follow would be to adopt the distinction that the philosopher Sidney Hook made in a 1950 essay on how to approach American communism called Heresy, Yes, Conspiracy, No. Hook said that a conspiracy couldn't be tolerated without stultification in a liberal society. By contrast, a heresy doesn't spread itself clandestinely but welcomes publicity. Communist ideas are heresies, and liberals need have no fear of them when they are freely and openly expressed. There can be no doubting that Mr. Jones inhabits a internet cesspool, which we are all a part of. I guess welcome to the cesspool. Welcome to the Matrix. But he is hardly more than a heretic. Expunging his views from the public domain would also take far more than expelling him from various social media sites. He is, after all, no loner. His farrago of beliefs are shared in one form or another by many conservative commenters, including Laura Ingraham, the Fox News anchor who created a furor this week when she announced in some parts of the country, blah, 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 blah. Then you've got Dinesh D'Souza with his Death of the Nation, showing that the Democratic Party platform was reminiscent of Nazi parties. None of this should be particularly surprising. The tendency towards heresy and conspiracy theories has a long history in right-wing politics. Oh my gosh. Okay, but yeah, so they said, watch out, it could come back to bite you. Okay, so speaking of socialists and communists, we're going to go on to the New Left's comedian, Ocasio-Cortez. Watch some videos of her just for a laugh. She is the communist who beat out the New York guy.
Okay, so I think you're correct. It's not who you voted for. So I want to correct. I don't want to put out fake news on our show. Whether you voted or not is what got sent out. Mm-hmm. It wasn't who you voted for, but it was whether that person actually voted or not.
Be secret.
Right, you're right.
Republican National Committee released a hilarious video on Friday mocking the Democratic Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez over many of her recent interviews. And we are just going to watch it now.
Really? It's painful.
It's going to be fun.
It's painful.
The clips of Ocasio-Cortez are mixed in with a well-known scene from Billy Madison, where the high school principal slams Billy Madison, played by Adam Sandler, for giving a nonsensical response.
Now, hang on. I have a question. Right now, I'm watching the numbers. I want to know if we just instantly got really boring all of a sudden, or if YouTube is kicking viewers off. Because just a second ago, like 5 minutes ago, we were at 91. Now we're at 65. So are we causing yawn? Is this a yawn effect for you people? I mean, I know it's not. I really don't think people are just like logging on and, hey, oh wow, they're boring, because really we're not out anywhere. No one is finding us and clicking on us as a video, like random, hey, I wonder what that is, and then leaving. The only people that are here are people that are trying to get here, right? Because you guys know that we go live on Friday evenings.
They are definitely faking the numbers.
This is absolutely ridiculous. No. Oh my gosh. Have you
You
seen this
used
already?
the term the occupation of Palestine. I think what I meant is like the settlements, places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty. Do you think you can expand on that? I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
We're here in Kansas City to rally for Brent Welder. We're gonna flip this seat red in November.
Unemployment is low because everyone has 2 jobs.
If you didn't catch that, red is in communism for her because Republicans are red and Democrats are blue.
I was kind of wondering about that.
No, come back, lady.
How would you guys describe yourself in terms?
Sorry, I'm gonna try again.
At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought.
Just last year, we gave the military a $700 billion budget increase, which they didn't even ask for.
She's confusing the entire
A $700 billion increase, which the military didn't even ask for. Those numbers aren't even real.
military budget, Pete, with the increase.
Capitalism has not always existed in the world, and it will not always exist in the world.
Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
It shows that Medicare for All is actually much cheaper than the current system that we pay right now.
Nancy Pelosi, do you recognize her as the leader for the House Democrats?
Of course. I think absolutely right now, she...
Go ahead, please.
She is the leader of
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now,
welcome to the future of the Democratic Party.
Capitalism has not always existed, and it won't always exist. That's what she just said. Sweetheart, I'm not sure if you understand what capitalism really is. Now, maybe you might say crony capitalism, but actually, crony capitalism has kind of always existed. Big businesses on a large scale maybe not always existed. But yeah.
So now we want something funny. I want to go to something that is way more serious. Raise your hand if you guys heard about that horrible compound in New Mexico where the 2 Muslim extremists, which we're allowed to now say because the dude's dad is one of the most famous imams in our country, who actually is Linda Salazar's imam.
Nuh-uh.
Who trained her, and she does interviews with him. She even tweeted out, I had a dream that I was sitting down with this imam on the steps and it was the best dream ever. That's their dad. Think about that. The guy who trained them is training Linda Salazar. And they starved 11 children, kidnapped and starved 11 children, and tried to turn them into school shooters to be terrorists.
Purely coincidental. Pretty sure.
So, here we have Siraj they have weird names so that you don't remember them. Osama bin Laden. We can remember this one. Okay? These ones I cannot pronounce.
Siraj ibn Wahaj.
Good. He enters the state district court in Taos for his arraignment Wednesday on charges of child abuse. Wahaj appeared with 4 other adults accused of keeping his son, Abdul Ghani Wahaj, believed dead, and 11 other children in sordid conditions in a makeshift camp near Amalia in northern New Mexico. New criminal complaints filed Wednesday morning indicate Wahaj had trained one of the 11 children to commit a school shooting. Now, what is the most disturbing part of this is that residents in that area have complained and made complaints to the police that something was amiss at this compound, and they did nothing. I think for years.
Wow.
So,
well, you can't touch them, right?
They always know ahead of time, is what I'm saying. The authorities work to determine whether the remains of a small boy are that of a missing Georgia boy. Prosecutors in Taos County accuse the boy's father of training of at least one other youngster to commit a school shooting. New criminal complaints filed in the state district court on Wednesday morning indicate investigators believe Wahaj had trained one of the 11 children at a dilapidated complex near Amalia. Now, at this complex, there are some pictures. They had like 0 to no food, maybe a handful of rice and beans. The children were like chained up. It was a house of horrors. The The Taos County prosecutor, Tim Hansen, wrote in court documents that a foster parent of one of the children removed from the compound following a raid Friday had told investigators the child had been trained by Wahaj to use an assault rifle in preparation for an assault.
So, hang on. In the chat, Mike says, funny, I just saw Alex Jones' face on YouTube and I thought he was banned. I think this Muzzy's, he says that, sorry, I wouldn't have said that, father was involved in the World Trade Center basement bombing. Do you remember that the first time?
So he is a co-conspirator there, and we're going to get to that. The allegations come as authorities wait to learn whether the body of a small child found at the compound Tuesday is that of Wahaj's disabled son, 4-year-old Abdu Ghani Wahaj, who has been missing since December. The remains are being analyzed. So for the I think it's Kostick of the Taos County Public Defender's Office questioned the new accusation of a school shooting conspiracy, saying the claim was presented with little information beyond the explanation that it came from a foster parent. Kostick said he believes prosecutors are not certain about the credibility of the foster parent. The 5 adults accused of keeping the boy and other children in squalid conditions at a makeshift camp appeared for an arraignment Wednesday. 5 adults here, women included. Crazy. Hansen said the office was also filled with motions to hold Wahaj and these 4 other defendants. So there's,
now let's keep in mind when we first heard about this, it was scrubbed from the internet.
He was a Muslim extremist.
Not only that, but the facts that have come out since that you just brought to us and the viewers, the link to their dad being Lidasar Sauer's imam, then finding out that he's a co-conspirator in the first World Trade Center bombing that didn't actually bring the building down. Right. I mean, you wouldn't think that they could find that out within the first day of information.
Right. So when they found this guy, he was in a partly buried camper trailer with 2 women and several children. He refused to come out with his hands up, and he was armed with a revolver and ammunition and an AR-15.
Wow.
Next to him was another loaded AR-15. He refused to give his name or identify anyone with him and declined to say anything about his son's whereabouts, probably the dead child. Investigators found a 100-foot tunnel on the north side of the buried trailer. It's like a bad movie. And about a 3 to 4 foot in diameter with 2 dugout pockets containing bedding. In a 100-foot tunnel with bedding.
This is ridiculous.
The living conditions, health, and well-being of the children were deemed deplorable as they had no clean water, food, electricity, dirty clothing, poor hygiene, and had not eaten or taken nutrition in what was believed to be days.
Okay, so hang on. So the question is, why were they living in such squalor and why were they not given any food?
They were breaking their minds down.
Exactly. I don't think it was because they were just so poor.
No.
And they couldn't afford to feed their captives.
No.
I really believe this was part of a breaking of the mind.
So what happens is you can train children, and this is what extremist, Satanist, cults have been doing for years. It's similar to what they do in the military, but on a different level. They break you down and build you back up. Everyone knows that, right? Come on, soldier, get your block off and up. And you know what I mean?
You're a really great...
But you're,
Sergeant
I
General.
know. But these are 18-year-old males. They can handle it. You can handle the truth. But did you order a code red? Anyways, sorry. It was rabbit trail.
Oh my
What abusers do, and Michelle and I, little known fact, have studied, child abuse and psychology and
deep trauma.
We know a lot about deep trauma and helping people get through deep trauma. And
speaking of which, go ahead.
One of the things that abusers will do is they break you down, they starve you.
Where's my book?
It's downstairs, I think. And they'll begin to do things like give you food or give you water in exchange for you doing what they want you to do, right? So they totally break you down, and then in order to build that school shooter mentality, the messed up mentality, then they'll reward you with little things. One of the children from the compound told investigators that Uncle Lucas had washed his body twice and then buried him. The property's owner, Jason Badger, who was in a dispute over the family squatting at the compound and had filed a case against Morton, also said he had seen the boy alive earlier this year. So if the property manager said that these are squatting on his land and he tried to take them to court, why did no one just go out there and see these children living in this condition?
That's a good question.
This is absolutely, positively insane.
I think it really is because they were Muslims, and you have to tread really lightly, okay? I want to get to the Linda Sarsour link one more time, actually, because I have a question that you don't have the answer for. It's a leading question. I've read this book through once and then twice to find different things that I wanted. It's called Help for the Fractured Soul. Whoa, there goes Sydney. Experiencing Healing and Deliverance from Deep Trauma. It's written by Candace Roberts. I highly, highly, highly recommend this book for anybody who has suffered deep trauma or knows somebody who has suffered from deep trauma.
So her definition of like deep trauma could be satanic ritual abuse, prolonged sexual abuse that lasted through your childhood. There's trauma and then there's deep trauma.
Right.
And so deep trauma will fracture your brain because children, especially infants, do not know how to process pain, which is what these children will have. They break off into dissociated parts in their brain. It makes more sense if you say fractured parts of your brain. Some of these victims may not, they might have amnesia. They'll wake up somewhere else. They don't remember getting there because what happens is your brain will fracture at the moment of the trauma.
Right.
And hide that memory away from the rest of your mind.
Yeah.
So that you can function as a human being. It's
actually a higher brain function. Not everybody that suffers deep trauma can do this. You have to actually have a higher intelligence in order to be able to do it. But I really wanted to, you guys ask us a lot, what books are you reading? What books do you recommend? And since we were on this topic, I wanted to throw that out for you guys. I really do recommend.
Answers.
And it's a Christian. She's a Christian. It's based from a Christian perspective.
And she believes that in a lot of these cases, you have to have the Holy Spirit. You have to have Jesus lead you to bring out these deep traumatic memories. Kansas randomly talking on the phone with him, and he just I didn't even know
back 6 years
he
ago.
Had suffered from molestation, and it was a memory he had hidden away. And then more memories started to surface, and God really set him free.
And that's part of his testimony that he tells people. Now, back to this. My question is, now that this has happened, we know that Linda Sarsour's mentor was these two brothers' dad. Has the imam himself come out and said, I denounce my sons, I denounce everything? And has Linda Sarsour come out and said, I denounce these people, I'm totally against what they did? Has she done that?
That is a really good question, and that is something that I have not had a chance to find the answer to that. But let's get
Sydney,
to the basics.
Oh my gosh, every court.
The son and two daughters of Linda Sarsour's mentor. The son and two daughters. I didn't know that. I read this. I don't know how I missed that. Linda Sarsour's mentor have been busted by authorities for setting up an Islamic extremist terrorist camp on American soil. This week, police raided an Islamic extremist compound in New Mexico where its leaders were reportedly training children to become school shooters. The leader of the terrorist training camp, Siraj Ibn Wahaj, was arrested by police during the raid. He and two of his sisters, along with his brother-in-law, were also arrested by authorities. And they described the arrested parties as most likely heavily armed and considered extremists in the Muslim belief. Wahaj and his sisters are the children of the controversial Brooklyn imam Siraj Wahaj, I think, who was once listed as a co-conspirator of the 1993 World Trade Center bombings. Imam Wahaj is a high-profile individual in the American Islamic community. He often keynotes conferences held by fringe groups such as the Council on American Relations. I wonder if CAR has been taken off of the internet yet. The Islamic Society of North America, two entities that were founded as part of a global Muslim Brotherhood network. Imam Wahaj is also the chief mentor of the Women's March co-founder, Linda Sarsour. She regularly showers praise on Wahaj. At an Islamic conference last year, Linda Sarsour began her speech thanking her favorite person in the room.
Wow.
Imam Siraj Wahaj, who has been a mentor, motivator, and encourager of mine. Someone who's taught me to speak truth to power and not worry about the consequences. Jihad. She says, Islam has made me love people. The Imam. Had a dream last night that I was chilling on my Brooklyn stoops with the Imam. It was awesome. Imam Wahaj is Black American and most loved religious leader among diverse groups of Muslims. Imam Siraj is an amazing man. I prayed at the Masjid Taqwa a few times, but it's far from where I live. We are here to pay back Masjid and this other guy for all that they have done for Muslims in the USA. So here, may every stone and every masjid Imam Siraj helped build make dua for him now and hereafter. Not only does Sarsar praise the Imam wherever she goes, they often share a platform at Islamist conferences and conventions throughout the United States. So here they are. Here's a discussion on YouTube with her and this Imam guy. Linda Sarsar's mentor, motivator, and encourager. Wahaj's defenders like Sarsar have crafted a narrative claiming that he is a mere social justice activist who happens to be an Imam. This could not be further from the truth. Wahaj is a radical's radical. The 1993 World Trade Center bombing co-conspirator has advocated for the establishment of an Islamic State inside the United States.
Wow.
He served as a character witness for the blind sheikh, Omar Abdul Raham, who was given a life sentence for being the mastermind behind terrorist plots in the United States.
He was the character witness for that guy.
He also claims that homosexuality is a disease created by American society and has recommended that LGBT individuals should face execution. Wahaj has not said a word publicly since his family was arrested. So I don't know if this has been updated, but we still haven't heard from him. There's no, I don't see any updates. So we've still.
So I'm gonna guess we may not see her denounce this guy's kids and their actions. I mean, we could just go to her Twitter and see if she like tweeted out.
I don't know why this hasn't been really trending on Twitter.
You don't know why? That's tongue in cheek.
You think people would be talking about it a lot?
No, they're not going to talk about it. Doesn't she have her own page?
So
that's got to be her right
Well,
there.
here's Tommy Lawrence saying, "Justice doesn't fit the narrative. Children of Lynn Stars arrested."
I'm just wondering if you can go to her page and just see if she's tweeted out about it. Like,
she's talking about this Yemen thing. The alt-right, white supremacist Islamophobes are out in full force. It's exhausting. I don't feel safe in my own country. Not seeing that she has said anything. No.
Okay. All right. So that answers that.
She hasn't said anything.
We're back in August 7th. So at least since the 7th, she hasn't come out to denounce this, these people. So at least on Twitter, which apparently, if you're anybody but me, Twitter is where it's at. Leah handles the Twitter. I do not. But
yeah, so.
Every single time, Leah, I ask Leah for something. I'm like, I need to find this. I need to do that. She goes, it's on Twitter. And I'm like, please don't make me go.
In addition, let's let Jana Lesh talk about this.
Let's let Dana
talk about it. One of the adults, apparently the adults who was in charge of this makeshift compound, being the son of one of the 1993 unindicted co-conspirators in the World Trade Center bombing, who also was the character witness in the trial of the blind sheikh. But that also, in addition to all of this, the court documents say that the plan, and apparently was underway, was to train these children who were there at this makeshift compound to carry out school shootings.
Where
Sounds like they were holding up for some kind of war, right? Unbelievable that this, and you saw some of the aerial footage, just how it's very, very remote. And law enforcement had this under surveillance for some time until they were able to get enough evidence to storm in. But the fact that it is Siraj Wahaj, the son of one of the 1993 unindicted co-conspirators for the World Trade Center bombings, who is also the character witness for the blind sheikh, is pretty unbelievable. And he was training these children to carry out school shootings as well, according to court documents. Another interesting related note to all of this is that the father, this imam, this very controversial imam in New York City, Siraj Wahaj, is also the mentor of Linda Sarsour. Remember, the founder of the Women's March, the head and the face of the Women's March, had said before, and we've played video on this program, I've talked about it quite a bit, about how she has said previously that she considers Siraj Wahaj, Sr., the father, to be her mentor. Watch.
And to my favorite person in this room, because that's mutual, is Imam Siraj Wahaj, who has been a mentor, a motivator, an encourager of mine, someone who has taught me to speak truth to power and not worry about the consequences.
Very interesting that just, to some of the associations from all of this and just how everything is related. Now, we're going to continue to follow this story particularly as law enforcement are still searching for the whereabouts of that 4-year-old boy. Now, some sources say that individuals that were there at that compound, some of the children apparently were telling law enforcement that they remember seeing this little boy there, but then all of a sudden he was no longer there, and law enforcement are also starting to think at this point that they might be looking for his body or his remains. They did find the remains of a child at the compound. This was reported yesterday, but they have not yet positively identified those remains, and so we'll be on the lookout for those.
So that's incredible that they have discovered remains at the compound. I think we all know how those remains came to be. Yeah. But as I was watching the footage there with the tires and the plastic, which it gets really hot in New Mexico. It gets really hot under plastic. I know this.
Oh my gosh.
It's a greenhouse effect, essentially. Not like greenhouse effect, but greenhouse. But seriously, this is really, really scary. But what cracks me up is she said they had to wait until they had enough evidence to storm in. And I'm thinking to myself, hang on. Because the township came to my property when I had a couple of gas cans sitting out for a day, okay? And we had a pile of sticks in the back. They're living in plastic and 1,000 tires. How is it that they can come to my house for gas cans and a pile of sticks, and they can't storm or at least knock on the door, the little plastic door, rattle it a little bit, shake it, whatever? Like, hey, anybody behind all these tires? There's codes for what you can and cannot live under. I mean, this is so ridiculous. I mean, I get it when you have so many acres, usually you're kind of immune to that sort of thing. But seriously, that's ridiculous that they had to wait to go through this red tape to go in there.
So we have a few more stories. If you looked at the, I was going through my links up here. I'm not going to cover everything I've got up. I'm going to hit a few more top stories because the other one I have in the title is we're going to talk about Bruce Orr. And that's actually the main thing, putting our country on the edge of, nuclear war with Russia. So it's kind of like the most important. Bruce Orr, we're going to get to that in a second, but he was like the number 4. You don't know much about him. He's a little Asian guy. Married to this woman named Nellie Orr, who was a CIA agent. She was on the farm. People didn't know if you've ever seen The Recruit. It's a CIA training facility. And she worked for Fusion GPS. And she was working, her and her husband were working with Christopher Steele. And there's some new emails that show that they had contact that contradicts testimony before the Congress. But I want to go back and forth with some good news and some hard news. So this is good news. Thomas Massey tweets this out. Thank you, Steve Forbes, CEO. My audit the Fed bill has passed our House GOP Oversight Committee this Congress. Now America waits for Speaker Ryan to schedule a floor vote at the House. Real Donald Trump has said he supports the audit the Fed bill. So Steve Forbes says, shocking cover-ups of the past bank bailouts by Federal Reserve at Senator Rand Paul. Fed audit bill should be passed immediately. So I am so excited about this. And
I never did. You asked me like in the very beginning of the show to tell my story. I never did.
This is the perfect time for that. I have not subscribed to the Wall Street Journal, so you guys can read this. We'll never know how bad the Federal Reserve really is. Senator Rand Paul still hasn't persuaded his colleagues to audit the Federal Reserve's conduct of monetary policy. Perhaps lawmakers could simply agree that the Fed should stop destroying documents. I would definitely love to read the rest of this article, but I'm not paying for it yet.
All right. So yesterday I was talking with an acquaintance / friend. Like, I can't call this person a friend because we don't hang out. But I've known this person, well, kind of since school, grade school. But anyway.
He works in this financial sphere.
Yes. So I don't remember how it started, but maybe it was the YouTube channel probably. And he was asking, do you guys kind of have more libertarian views? And I said, we absolutely do. And I got to talking about the Federal Reserve and how we like to talk about this a lot on our show. And he says to me, he said, I would really be interested in having a conversation with you about that. And now a conversation ensued, but it wasn't like a deep, in-depth conversation. But I said to him how, the dollar, the value of the dollar and the gold standard stayed exactly the same from the foundation of our country, from the Revolutionary War, same, blip for the Civil War, and then back down, same. And then we have December 23rd, 1913, which is the Federal Reserve, and he was not aware of the fact that they pushed this through on December 23rd on purpose because they knew that the members of the House and the Senate were going to be gone on Christmas break, and that would be the only way that they would get it passed. So they did that, and I said, and then it just continued to get. Now we've declined to the value of the dollar being at 100% to 0.3% of, and it's a house of cards, and it's about to fall. And so I said everything's gotten worse in the last 100 years, and it started to steamroll with FDR, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go over because a lot of people tout him as a god. Okay, he was elected. You guys, do you know that FDR was elected for a 4th term? The only president that was ever elected for a 4th term. He didn't finish it out because he was too sick and he died. But seriously, and then that's when they had to put in the law. Oh, now we have to limit it to 2 terms. America was so desperate and so crippled by World War II, they thought we can't have any other leader but this man. And then we go down a spiral downhill. Well, anyway, he's reading a book called The Dirty Dozen that exposes FDR and his stacking the justice system to put forth his agenda. And he said, when I finish it, you can read it. But anyway, I was highly encouraged that somebody in the financial sector was so knowledgeable and understood how evil the Federal Reserve is and how it should be abolished. And I think the only way we're going to see that happen is with an audit of the Fed. Go back to your topic.
All right. So I'm excited to see where that goes. And it may not be Speaker Ryan. It may be Speaker Jordan. So
yay! Jordan.
We'll see how that... Okay, so I'm going to go and I'm let Sean Hannity and John Solomon kind of talk about the Bruce Orr thing and where we're at with, the Russian collusion.
Detailing how he coordinated with Clinton's team of op researchers, all in the lead up to the election. We need to get to the bottom of it. We have new details surrounding just how deep state Christopher Steele's Russian ties are. By the way, Robert Mueller, please tune in. We have found more actual real Russia collusion that you might want to investigate if you care about truth and equal justice under the law. Also tonight, we will bring you the unusual case of what looks like a Chinese spy and Senator Carr anti-Trump conspiracy by the DNC.
Let me get to
this is why we...
Let me get to
yes,
John
he
Solomon.
does.
Sorry.
I thought he was a Russian spy,
Jeez, Lee, you don't
not
have
Trump.
Perfectly queued up.
I know. I thought...
Demerit.
I know. I'm going to get to John Solomon here. Where John starts talking. Hang on. That's a whole awesome, funny thing that he does with Rachel Maddow and Jim Acosta. So.
Mike Skidmore earlier had said that we only grew up in the East and that in Arizona, New Mexico, it's much different and the heat is different. We actually lived in Oklahoma for 5 years, and we lived in California for 3 months, and we drove through New Mexico and Arizona. We know what the desert is like. We know what the heat is like.
Right now.
We have friends that live in Texas. Eric Mathis lives down in that heat. He sent me a picture the other day where it was, forgive me if I get this wrong, I think it was 119 or 109 in the shade. In the shade. So, yeah.
It's pretty bad. We're having record-breaking temperatures of this summer we did in July, and especially in New Mexico, it's been really bad. In Texas, it's well.
By the FBI, the Democrats are still in shock.
Hang on. Let me back them up. Here we go.
Developments tonight. I have copies, but I'm not allowed to show them, am I?
Well, listen, I have some of these handwritten notes, and unlike BuzzFeed and other organizations that let unredacted information out without checking into it, I don't think it's responsible to put all the handwritten notes out until we check the information out.
And we know the handwritten notes were written by, too?
Bruce Orr, the Justice Department official, Bruce Orr. That's what Congress has been told. And these notes are from a December 11th meeting. Let me set the table. It's 1 month after Donald Trump has won the election. It's 1 month after Christopher Steele, the opposition researcher, British intelligence agent, has been fired by the FBI. The Democrats are still in shock. I assume Lisa Page and Stroker still sorting through their feelings after the election. And all of a sudden, Bruce Orr goes to a coffee shop in Washington and he meets Glenn Simpson. That's Christopher Steele's boss, the owner of Fusion GPS, the Clinton research firm. And he gets a memory card, a thumb drive of documents coming to Bruce Orr. Bruce Orr is not in the counterintelligence chain. He's not an FBI counterintelligence person. And in fact, his wife worked for Fusion GPS, so he might have a conflict of interest under the Justice Department rules.
Or it does.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's for lawyers to decide. But clearly it's an issue that's been flagged, right? And he gets this, and he gets a series of admissions that he writes down in his notes. And I think these are so important. I'll just go through them quickly. 1, Simpson acknowledged he encouraged Steele to leak a story just before the election as a Hail Mary attempt, obviously to throw the election. Now remember, Glenn Simpson testified he only pursued this information because he thought it was good citizenship. Wasn't about politics, it was about being a good citizen. Here you see him telling his friend who takes a note, it's about elections. Here's another one. He doesn't have it.
Literally, Steele leaked his information to like the Yahoo News, and then they used that Yahoo News.
Yeah.
Many sources in Moscow where this alleged plot is. It's an intelligence agent who's now living in the United States. That's a red flag for all the intelligence people I talk to. Sounds like compromat, not a real intelligence source. And he goes on, he talks about this incredible theory he has, which is really there were 3 spies in the Trump campaign. First it was Manafort, he got booted. Then it was Carter Page, he got booted. So then Michael Cohen must have been the third link because, well, he's married to someone who knows somebody in Russia. And he puts all this down, and Orr's taking it, and 2 days later, Orr takes it out, and he runs over to the FBI and he does an interview and tells them what it is. And why is this important? The FBI fired Christopher Steele and said it was going to not take any more information from this political opposition research operation, but Bruce Orr is the guy walking it in the door after the firing. It has to concern people at the FISA court, has to concern professional intelligence people like I talked to today who looked at these notes and said, this is the worst form of intelligence gathering we've ever seen.
It's called corruption. Sarah, you're working on a couple...
Okay.
Oh, Bruce.
It's frozen.
Okay, back to Sarah Carter. It's playing, but it's frozen. This was doing last night for me.
God bless technology.
I know.
All right, so Mike corrected me. He's like, Michelle, the government, not the heat. Okay, I didn't know what you meant. You're right. The government out there is going to be a lot.
Rules, he had been dismissed, but they were still using him. I think these are some of the biggest questions. And John's right, because the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, that's something that I've been looking at. They will be very, and they are very, very concerned about what happened, because this affects the ability to trust the Bureau, the ability to trust those people in counterintelligence that are giving them the information. This is supposed to be factual. They are supposed to have facts. They attributed everything in that FISC. If you read the application, what's been released, they say this is absolute fact. We know Carter Page is a spy.
Well, I'm going to stop it there because I wanted you to get what we were talking about with the new revelation with Bruce Orr and these thumb drives and figuring out that they were conspiring.
Mm-hmm.
He is the number 4
right
at the FBI. Conspiring to drop this fake information out there to stop Trump from being president.
Right.
How? I don't have words for this.
But it's still so important to Mueller in the Manafort investigation to see this thing through that they are calling for, they're upset at the judge, right? We're going to cover that. I mean, he's literally calling for not an investigation into the judge, but hang on, this judge might be biased. What I'm saying is they are so desperate to hang on to this Trump-Russia narrative that they are pulling out all of the stops. And it's I know this sounds really stupid and kitschy, but my mom always says what somebody else accuses you of, that's what they're guilty of. And most of the time, when we see people come out so hard at something like the Trump-Russia thing, we know that they're actually hiding the real conspiracy of Russia within themselves. The number 4 in the FBI. This should be blowing 100 years ago. This would have been in every single newspaper. This would have been talked about in every town hall, every social circle. This would be the hottest news, okay, if this had happened 100 years ago. But it's being covered up. It's being swept under the rug as if it's not a big deal.
So you mentioned the Manafort case. What's interesting about this is Mueller trying to cover his rear end to get something out of this whole investigation.
Oh my gosh.
So in 2005, Manafort was cleared by Rod Rosenstein of any of this exact thing, this tax evasion.
And you can't retry somebody, by the way.
Well, he was never tried.
Okay,
he was never.
But if you're cleared, you would think that they couldn't bring it back up, but I guess they can.
So the judge has been very kind of frustrated with the prosecution, knowing that it is literally just set up to try to get Trump.
Right.
And so Mueller's team has sent an official denunciation of the judge and complaint against the judge. So Special Counsel Robert Mueller's team of prosecutors have spent several days building what many legal experts what they did consider a slam dunk against President Donald Trump's former campaign manager, Paul Manafort. But it has been surprisingly hard going at times, and as they prepare to rest their case by this week's end, they bear battle wounds that Manafort's lawyers are sure to exploit as they mount their defense. So the prosecution has to rest, right? But the prosecution can also, the defense can also cross-examine witnesses the prosecution brings up.
Yeah.
So, and now we have the defense they're gonna bring their case, and then the prosecution can cross-examine them as well. But even as Mueller's teams methodically piled up evidence of Manafort's alleged tax and banks fraud, jurors have seen the special counsel's case hit some potholes. Most notably, Manafort's attorneys have painted the prosecution star witness, Rick Gates, who was the financier. He was his tax guy. And he embezzled. This is so funny to me. He embezzled hundreds of thousands of dollars from Manafort. And then the defense attorneys asked
really
him,
good here.
So
Listen.
You have lied to the FBI.
Right.
You are you've admitted to lying. You've embezzled money. You've had 4 affairs.
4 affairs.
And you want the jury to believe that right now you're telling the truth.
And they're like, yeah.
And he said yes.
Yes.
He said, yes, I want you to believe me right now.
Of course you want me. I want you to believe me.
But because he did embezzle. And he made a deal with the Mueller's team.
Mm-hmm.
So this is literally paying somebody.
Yeah.
With less jail time or no jail time to get the guy you want to get.
Yeah.
Like literally paying them.
Yes.
So if he's a known liar, he can be flipped in either direction.
Mm-hmm. Listen, these kinds of people only look out for their own interests. Mm-hmm. They're going to cover their backside. They will go to whatever team. They're like a baseball player or a football player. Whoever's going to pay me the highest, I can put my allegiance to whichever team. It doesn't matter if I was their mortal enemy yesterday. Okay, these people are so corrupt. They have no moral code. You can't believe a word out of their mouths. Now, are you going to go into this a little bit deeper?
Mm-mm.
Okay, because bringing this up causes me to think of Julian Assange possibly being called as a witness, which is kind of really exciting. I didn't know if you wanted to just kind of tell them about that.
So we do have some backdoor channels, some congressmen maybe wanting Assange to testify about Russia. So we're hearing rumors that he may do this.
So if he were to testify, would he have to come to the United States to do that? And if he did so, would he get offered some sort of deal? And if he was here, would Trump pardon him? And don't poo-poo on my parade. Those of you in the chat that are going to say no, that Trump wouldn't do it. I believe Trump might.
Yeah, so right now, though, the DNC is like serving WikiLeaks over Twitter with like some sort of case against them. It's absolutely insane. I want to actually... Mark Zuckerberg met in secret.
Weight.
He's probably lost a lot of weight. He met in secret with all the CEOs of Apple. Like, this was a coordinated attack. I wanted you guys to know that. But I also thought this was funny. You have Dr. Shiva.
Why do we call her a fake Indian? Because Elizabeth Warren appropriated and has an integrity issue. She told people that she was a Native American. She used affirmative action, which was intended for minorities and people of color, and actually oppressed people to get into this fake university behind us called Harvard University. That's what Elizabeth Warren's about. A few weeks ago, the reason we're here today and we're going to be marching on Elizabeth Warren's house is a few weeks ago, we went to one of her town halls. Across from that town hall, we set up our banners like you're seeing here, and we invited the people going into her town hall to come in and have a discussion with us about race. So this was a hot day. They were going into a nice AC-conditioned room. A lot of these people are your typical white liberals who think they're better than everyone, know-it-all. And we invited them to have a discussion about race. So they didn't want to do that. Two students came up. We had a very good discussion. But in the middle of our sharing with them what we thought racism was, meaning that racism is not about simply changing words about buildings or using certain words. We talked about the fact that racism has to do with the fact that the average net worth of a black person in Boston, according to the Federal Reserve, is $8, 2 miles from Elizabeth Warren's home. For the last 40, 50, 100 years, the bourgeois elite in Cambridge, out of Harvard University, have always talked about how they care for everyday people. Meanwhile, they live off racial segregation and discrimination. They split poor whites and poor blacks up, and they each talk about how they're going to work for each other. So anyway, we were discussing this, and you should get one of our flyers. In the middle of that discussion, a guy across the street didn't like me calling Warren racist. You see, because it blows their mind, because they brainwashed all of us to think it's okay to lie and cheat and use affirmative action to get into Harvard. That's not racist. So when we call that out, this guy wearing a liberal t-shirt walks over and punches me in the face with my megaphone. 2 chip teeth, bleeding. I have to likely get surgery for that. He was arrested and taken away. What did Elizabeth Warren do? Did she condemn this? Did she? What she did was, in fact, invite this guy back in and gave him VIP service at her town hall. And my family and I have asked her to condemn this racist hate crime, because that's what it is. You see, if this was a guy with a Trump t-shirt attacking a black guy, it would be all over CNN, over and over and over again. Every freaking Hollywood celebrity would be holding vigil.
Wow. So for those of you that are unaware, he is, Dr. Shiva Ayyadurai is Indian. He is like literally from India. And don't get on my accent, because I love to do the Indian accent. It's one of my favorite accents to do. But seriously, he's from India. So his entire platform that he is doing is saying vote for a real Indian, okay? But it's not just in their jurisdiction. He is spreading this whole thing across the country, worldwide. They're kind of flying blimps about this. It's not just about the vote at this point. He's literally trying to change people's minds. It's a movement, which I'm really excited about. I don't know if you guys could hear with the megaphone, but what he said was this white guy came and punched him in the face with his megaphone. Blood. It was like, I don't know if it knocked out teeth, but it got in his teeth and all this. And then Elizabeth Warren goes and takes this guy and gives him VIP access back inside because he punched an Indian in the face. I mean, really.
All right, so you guys know how they've been defacing Donald Trump's star. So this is
so great.
This artist came up with these peel-ons that look just like
stickers of a star of Donald Trump's Walk of Fame, sticking them everywhere.
Man, it worked.
So he literally gets it wet, and he puts down the sticker that looks just like the star.
Look at that. He's doing just fine.
I'm about to snatch you pussies up like I'm Donald Trump. I'll say rolling like I'm Donald Trump. Surrounded by the bitches like I'm Donald Trump.
This is so great. Oh my God.
And I'm always winning like I'm Donald Trump.
About to embarrass you, Jimmy Kimmel.
So fuck it, I'll say it through.
They're covering up other people's stars?
Cause we roll with Donald Trump and making America better. I'm about to snatch you pussies up like I'm Donald Trump.
Next round.
I stay rolling with the crackers like I'm Donald Trump. Surrounded by the bitches like I'm Donald Trump.
Okay, there's curse words in this rap music. I don't know if you could turn that off.
Yeah.
You know, it is. It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Oh my gosh, that's so great. That is hilarious.
So I have one more good video for you guys to share. This is made by some black guys in Chicago. And Democrats, quote, don't want us to believe our situation is white, racist Republicans and conservatives' fault. But no, this is a white and black racist Democrats doing this to us. Are you ready? Let's go.
Exactly the way that they have it.
This is an attempt by the same liberal agenda to talk about politics way up here in Washington, D.C., but never talk about the politics right here in Chicago. Nothing to do with jobs, contracts, and opportunities. It has nothing to do with a better education. Has nothing to do with healthcare. Has nothing to do with any of those things.
The fake news is that this city is a city for everyone.
More schools closed down than any other city in the nation. The highest unemployment rate for African Americans other than Milwaukee.
The rest of the city looks like a bomb has been dropped, like a third world country.
Every day of the week, there's a body count. 30 people shot up, 40 people shot up. That's not real fake.
This is a city for the elite.
This is the capital of cronyism.
They want you to be focused on Donald Trump being the problem.
Why are we all messed up? Why our neighborhood? Trump just got in there.
There's nothing fake about this guy. He tells you what he's about. The fake is Barack Obama. The fake is Bill Clinton.
He ain't been in there a year. Why we all messed up? This is to make sure that you don't ask those questions.
The Democratic machine in this city is intentionally dumbing down the people, socially engineering the people into poverty. We want you to believe that there's some white racist Republican, a white racist conservative doing this. No. This is the Democratic machine.
Now, this is the most racist city and segregated city in the country, right here in Chicago.
These are white and black racist Democrats who are doing this to us.
Democrats run the state, they run the county, they run the city of Chicago, and most of the small cities in the state of Illinois.
They don't want the killing to stop. They need the people to continue to be poor. They need these blood-sucking programs that have never done anything to bring down violence, unemployment, poverty. Feds need to come in and investigate the city council in this city, the state representatives, the state senators, the congressmen.
To root out all of the corruption in City Hall and in Springfield and in the county.
And if Donald Trump wants to come here and get the real answers, come here and talk to the real people. We'll show you how things are working in this city.
And if he do that, he can make Chicago great again.
That's fantastic. I love those guys. Wouldn't it be cool if Trump did it? If he could squeeze that into his schedule? I think that would be awesome.
So I really didn't. Well, I maybe talk about Yemen in just a second.
Yemen.
Yeah. So Patriot Gallery, she did this. Q does code. And in order to understand Q, you have to understand the code. So if you go to her Facebook page, you can look that Mom looked up what all the different things were. And she went all over the internet last night and took some from some people and some from another person and came up with our own list of Q people and what they mean. And half of them, you don't even know what they mean. But Q is under attack by everybody. Even Mike Cernovich and Jack Posobiec, to which, when I disagree with somebody on who I think is on my side, then I just kind of let it go in one ear and out the other ear.
Not other people. They do not have that kind of willpower.
Like Ben Shapiro, who calls Alex Jones garbage. Well, there's stuff I'm going to still share about Ben Shapiro, and I can say, you're just being an idiot right now, okay?
Idiot.
But I actually don't think that Q is some sort of fake, CIA thing, because there's like Michelle and I talked about, the house divided against itself cannot stand, and the devil can't cast out the devil, because Q totally puts up links that we all need about Haiti. That's the one about Haiti going on right now, and what assets people were placed to spy on the POTUS campaign. Why did the news cycle drop this investigation? Think several. What if those placed are being investigated by BM? Mom, it's not about movement.
Did she put it in alphabetical order?
No.
There's BP.
BM, Mom, you didn't come up with BM. Sometimes if you go over it, it'll say, nope, that one, nobody knows what that one is. Plants need water. What if others placed connect to the future? What if Nellie Orr previously worked on the farm, which is the CIA training facility?
I want you guys to stick with us because we're going to play a hilarious song here. An awesome song here in a second.
Yeah. The tarmac final meeting, no charges drop, equals Supreme Court, go-betweens, Hussein, which is Barack Hussein Obama, national security order is official, POTUS can declassify, bottom to top, see now, FBI DOJ to expand fast, FISA applications false active, domestic spy campaign, UK assisted Fed, and that's something that I have learned from from this Q thing that's really important. He keeps saying, what about the UK? What about the UK? What about the UK? If we're looking at Russian collusion, why aren't we looking about the fact that Christopher Steele was a former MI6 agent, and that the European Union, and especially the elites in the UK, wanted Hillary Clinton elected, and that they didn't want Donald Trump elected. Don't tell me they wouldn't, help their CIA operative. Like, this is a thing. Like, the UK is involved with trying to rig our election.
Yes.
Just like Obama went over there to try to help rig Brexit. This was a tit for tat. Try to get Hillary Clinton elected. We'll try to get Brexit stopped. I mean, the UK wanted to stop Brexit.
Yes.
The main governments, the elites and
Absolutely.
stuff. So that's one thing that Q points out that other people don't point out. What about the UK connection? Christopher Steele is a UK MI6 guy. And so, why does he have connections to these Russian guys? And the Russian guys that they have are connected to Putin people. So what is going on here? Who's connecting the dots? So if you look at what Q is posting, he is connecting dots that the rest of us aren't able to connect. And I don't mind. It's not he, it's the people. And all they're doing is researching things and trying to bring them to our forefront. And I don't, like this, like, why are the Democrats opposed to implementing voter ID law? Well, Tony Schaefer has a video where I watched today where he says, listen to this.
Professor there, I think Professor Richmond, and he did analysis of election rolls and voting patterns, I think in 2008, 2010. And he found that aliens register to vote in large numbers and vote in numbers large enough to affect the outcome of elections. And that those outcomes specifically he thought were affected by aliens illegally voting resulted in Al Franken being elected to the Senate in Minnesota, which was the 50th vote or 51st vote for all sorts of things Obama was able to do his first year in office, the stimulus, Obamacare and such. And it helped Obama win in North Carolina, I think, in 2008. It didn't necessarily turn the election in his favor, but it helped him win the state, North Carolina. So what I did was, again, what Richmond found is that people register to vote who are not here legally, and those who are also here legally who aren't citizens also register to vote in federal elections. And once you're registered to vote, even voter ID may not stop you from voting if you're an alien who's illegally registered, because many of these individuals have the necessary identification in order to vote once they're registered to vote, because no one's challenged at the polls for their citizenship status. So when you look at the numbers that Professor Richmond used, and I won't bore you with the numbers I figured out, but I'm guessing 43 million or so alien residents here in the United States. You figure out what the voting age population of that group would be, you take the percentages, and my back of the envelope calculation is about 1.1 million aliens illegally voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Now what happens...
So, and then Q is talking about voter ID and voter fraud, and why are they... You have to show your driver's license to open a bank account. Why wouldn't you have to show your driver's license or some sort of approved state ID to vote in an election? And the reason is that the Democrats don't want voter ID. They want the Russians, we want to control the internet and fake news and all these things, but they don't want illegals not to vote.
No, absolutely not. Are you done with the Q stuff?
Yeah, so just to kind of give you guys an update on what's going on with Q right now, they never thought she would lose. Now they all lose. That's kind of cool. It's just kind of positive stuff. Patriots, we are under extreme heavy attack. Intel agencies, foreign and domestic. We are in communication coordination when necessary. Divisions, stay strong, stay together. Phishing is fun. These people are stupid. Kind of putting out probably hooks for people to find. Return, read drops, return Haiti. At some point, it will not be safe for them to walk down the street. Pure evil. How many in Washington and those around the world in power worship the devil? Conspiracy, fake news. The world is watching. Yes, they really do worship the devil. This is not a joke. And so what he has done here...
we used to cover a lot more on that in the beginning of Resistance Chick. So January, February, March, April of 2017, when we were doing pre-recorded videos, Leah would do pretty much exposés on uncovering the evils of the political left and how they are linked to not only child molestations, but how the pedophilia is linked hand in hand with devil worship. Like it is a thing. It's absurd to us, right?
Okay.
But Bill and Hillary visited witch doctors down in Haiti, and
I don't have a problem even if the CIA can't be running this, because I tell you what, you can't say Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Ghost, and you can't use this much truth but by the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Okay? Because someone said about calling Q a cult. The only cult that tells you to think for yourself, research for yourself, and doesn't show their face and say, worship me. Okay?
Right.
So I'm going to give you a couple
Good
things.
point, Leah.
Psychological projection, define conspiracy, a secret plan by a group to do something unlawful or harmful. So what they're calling Q is a conspiracy, which means they really think somebody's trying to do something unlawful or harmful, but all they're doing is uncovering unlawful and harmful things.
Right. Which... to the evil people is unlawful and harmful to them.
Here they're calling out the fake news. They can't do this. CNN would not call this out.
Right.
CNN, CIA, James Clapper would not be able to let this stuff come out their mouth.
Right.
It would hurt them too much. Right? Fake news, collaborating and pushing knowingly false information. Fake news, knowingly false narrative pushes. POTUS colluded with Russia to win the 2016 presidential election. If this was some sort of crazy CIA, the fact that they know that that's fake news, the fact that they're putting it out there shows you that it's like totally twisted.
Yeah.
What I'm thinking is the only thing they might be fibbing about is that they have connections up top.
Okay, but there's the caveat to that questioning is, how is it that there are things that even I was a Q
skeptic.
Thank you. For a really long time, and kind of still am, even I have to admit that they know things that they should not know. Mm-hmm. That you would have to be in, and you would have to have a connection in order to know them.
Unless they have like a spy app on somebody's phone or
True.
something like that, right?
Yeah, like a hacker.
So let's pretend for a second.
Okay.
Somebody has like a spy app or hacking ability
Yes.
on somebody up in the White House. So they're like, they get together with some other hackers, like, we need to encourage these people.
Yeah.
What can we do?
I could see that.
Let's create
For
this
sure.
thing, and let's start dropping these things as if we're in on the end, because we've got like a fly on the wall,
Yeah.
right? And we'll do all this research, and we'll put it together, and we'll put it out there.
This is a really good theory you have.
Okay, and so what I'm
Did
thinking...
you come up with this by yourself?
I've been thinking about it. That's what I've been thinking all
But
along.
I mean, did you get it from anyone else?
No.
This is the original.
No, this is what I've been thinking, like the whole time. Like, maybe they're not people literally on the end saying, hey, drop this, but it's a bunch of patriots who do a lot of internet research, who get together on 4chan, and are like, we need to encourage and keep people going, right? So Jack Corsi dropped off, Alex Jones dropped off, Mark Cernovich, Jack Posobiec dropped off, but that's okay. Because these Q people, they are the people who voted for Donald Trump in the first place. They're the people who backed and supported. They're the average American who are doing, and Q is giving them...
Well, especially the Anons are.
But here's the thing. Between Jack Posobiec or Mike Cernovich, you have, unfortunately, this me, look at me, I'm the source.
Exactly.
I'm the guy, look at me.
I have an inside guy.
I have a source. I know sources that tell me that this is just...
Unfortunately, you guys...
It's too competitive.
These guys that get up really
Macho,
big
competitive.
are kind of narcissistic.
Yeah.
In order to get big, you have to be narcissistic,
Yeah.
which is why Leah and I are so small.
Yeah.
It's just true.
Exactly. You have to be narcissistic. But Q isn't, okay? This is for the little people. They don't have to read it. They don't have to go there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Listen to what they say.
No, I want to interrupt you because I just had this one thought. The reason why people keep flocking to Q, in spite of the fact that everybody keeps poo-pooing it as just some wild conspiracy, is like the gospel of Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. You can poo-poo it all you want. You can squash it. You can call it fake. You can do whatever. But if it is actually truth, people can sense it. We're not stupid. And that's why it's spread. Carry on.
So the fake news is that... Trump colluded with Russia. Trump is a puppet of Putin. Trump will irreparably harm relations with our allies. Trump will collapse the U.S. economy. Trump will collapse the stock market. Trump will cause a war with the UK. Trump will cause war with Iran. Trump will destroy the world, and on and on and on. Fear and scare push. They would rather see North Korea peace negotiations fail, which is war, than see POTUS resolve it. Scandalous media bias, conspiracy, collaboration. What are they hiding? Fake news media is not free and independent. Fake news media propaganda arm of the Democratic Party. Think WikiLeaks list of journalists who colluded with with Hillary Rodham Clinton and the DNC. They want you divided. Divided by race, divided by religion, divided by culture, divided by class, divided by political. Divided you are weak, together you are strong. You, the people, have the power. This movement challenges their forced narrative. This movement challenges people who simply trust what is being reported. Research for yourself. Think for yourself. Trust yourself. The movement is not about one person or group of people. We, the people. You are witnessing a full panic attack by the fake news media and covert alt media affiliates. They cannot contain or defeat what they do not understand. Is any of this normal? Think sealed indictments. Count. Think resignations of the CEOs. Think resignation of senators. Think resignation of the Congress. Termination of senior FBI. Termination of the senior DOJ. Watergate times 1,000. Attacks will only intensify. Logical thinking. Ask yourself the simple question. Why?
That's good.
Why? Why are senators resigning? Why is Al Franken, is that the one that's gone?
Is he really gone?
The white guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's gone. He resigned. Why are people resigning? Why are CEOs, like, we keep hearing another NBC
he totally
executive
resigned on purpose. Yeah, because he was called out.
Another NBC executive. A lot of these guys are coming out, you don't see Matt Lauer anymore. Was that part of Donald Trump? I don't know. But they're blaming the Me Too movement on Donald Trump.
Right.
You know what I mean? And how they were afraid that because Donald Trump is in the office, we need to be open about these things. Like, there is an anointing happening. There is a godly push happening to get things out. And who's ever writing this, for better or for worse, even if they are fibbing about actually being up in the upper echelons, these are good people trying to get the truth out. So, we're going to end our show with Mom's favorite new little video,
We have a couple things we need to cover, but we're going to we're nearing the end.
We're going to play the video, and then we're going to
do a little mail call.
Mail call.
Right. And I have some pictures from Kelly I want to show.
Okay.
All right. So let me switch over here. All right. Now, I haven't actually listened to this in its entirety. My mom was playing it last night in her room. She's painting her bedroom. And I'm listening to I actually enjoy hip hop and rap. But I just listen to the Christian stuff because the cursing I can't stand. But Lee and I used to actually dance hip hop. For those of you, she was on a competition team. She could break it down for you. Anyhow, I was like, oh my gosh. I said to my mother, I knew I would get you listening to rap eventually. That's exactly what I said to her.
What this represents, maybe it's the calm before the storm. Could be the calm before the storm. We have the world's great military people in this room, I will tell you that.
Crooked bankers, Rothschild on the run. Deep state players, we know what we've done. A light is coming in, exposing every sin as the mainstream media lies come undone. Here's a great man that drives them all insane, and he's gonna make America great again. I really want to introduce you to my friend Q and the people of the Great Awakening. Not long ago, as we all know, the CIA and NSA recorded every step we made. Surveillance tape recorded everything we say, tracking everything we do every single day. Our privacy stolen by the deep state. They didn't hide their crimes, that's a very big mistake. They didn't think about the good guys in the NSA, cause they thought that Hillary would be the president today. Here's a message to all my friends. Let me tell you about something that's happening, about a movement called the Great Awakening. The QAnon phenomenon is going mainstream. This time is coming round to use the evidence and bring them down. And we'll all just laugh as they fall and crawl, cause where we go one, we go all. Trump says he has all the proof of the crime, and it's gonna be released all in good time. But first let's drain the swamp, clean the dump, expose the lies, get the lying dirty judges out. Then we'll shine the light until there's no end, and show Obama light to get a FISA warrant. The DNC and Hillary's fight illegally on the Trump campaign and his family. That's a major crime you see. They lost their power, they can't defend. We're witnessing the beginning of their end. These people are stupid, they can't pretend, cause they never thought thought that Trump would win. Now crippled and scared, and they know they're screwed, and all they have left is a bunch of fake news. It won't fix this mess, they're all out of luck, and nothing will work at sea on its own. Here's a message to all my friends. Let me tell you about something that's happening, about a movement called the Great Awakening. The QAnon phenomenon is going mainstream. This time is coming round to use the evidence and bring them down, and we'll all just laugh as they fall and crawl, cause where we go one, we go all. The deep state wants to win the next election, try to take control of the House and the Senate, try to stop Trump and Q and all the decisions, but their voting bases indicate hashtag walk away. Remember now, this is just the start, cause it's all coming down like a house of cards. There's more people going down in due time, like all the dirty CEOs that resign. They'll try to keep everyone in the dark with the use of Hollywood, Susan, Jack, and Mark to hide the fact that they're all evil and sick, child trafficking, pedophiles, Satanists. Their time is up, soon they won't even exist. Military trials, seal indictments, God's justice being served for all their sins. Their time is up, that's all, that's it. Here's a message to all my friends. Let me tell you about something that's happening, about a movement called the Great Awakening. The QAnon phenomenon is going mainstream. This time is coming round to use the evidence and bring them down, and we'll all just laugh as they fall and crawl, cause where we go one, we go all.
Everybody, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. You'll find out.
Oh my gosh. Have no fellowship with the untruthful warnings of darkness, but rather reprove them.
See, here's the thing. If Q inspires people to do this, yes. Okay, like you met with our friend, and he's starting to do research. Yeah, there is a great awakening. People are waking up. Right. I don't care if Q is sitting in the office, because I tell you what, I go to the Q Post and I find things. I find links I didn't hear. I watch Devin Nunes links. I watch this links. I watch all kinds of links that I hadn't thought of before. Right. Now I want to read some of these comments.
Did you see that St. Augustine quote at the end? There, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. Let it loose, and it will defend itself. That's really powerful, and that's what QAnon is doing. Letting the truth loose, and it is defending itself.
Okay, so I'm going to get some of these comments. They used UK to spy as backdoor method to obtain intelligence on the U.S. citizens. A lot already came out during the FISA recertifications. Yes. Q seems vague. There are lots of people who can state vague things that someone can think later. Nothing against Q or the followers of Q. Thank you, Wicked Psyched, because, listen, I thought the same thing. I tell my mom all the time, because she reads the Q and she watches other people break down Q, and I'm like, I do not understand some of these things that this person is saying. But when I do get it, it's kind of like, cool. I don't mind that they turned it into a game. You want to know why? You want to know why? Because I read in the scripture all the time. I just read a whole bunch of scriptures. God, I thank you that you have hidden these things from the wise and prudent and given them unto babes. It's like the people with the purest heart get Q. And that is the truth, which means I might not have the purest heart. I don't know. Bert Bazza says, I know a hacker that is running between the UK, Germany, and Russia, trying to close back doors in the government computer systems to stop the UK, US, and Russia, along with Germany, from rigging elections all over. Let's see. The US and the UK have always used that agreement to get around each other's laws. How is Alex Jones censored? And that horrible, violent video by Childish Gambino is all over YouTube. Let's see. Mike Skidmore says, my guess was about 3 million illegals voted for Hillary. He also says, I like the Q mega memes folder, and he'd like to post a link, but he's not a moderator. Let's see. He shared with the Resistance on Twitter. We'll bring that up. Thank you, Mike. I will check that out on Twitter.
I just dropped the link to that rap video in the comment section.
The opposition is playing a run out on the clock strategy. The next important clock point is the midterms. How do you know that Q is not Assange, Russia, or China? It's not China. China does not know how to do Christianity. They wouldn't even pretend to admit it. They can't. No, the devil can't work against the devil. It's not China. It could be. Russians can't talk like that. I know.
That was exactly going to be my explanation.
This is a mid-America
Assange
dude.
doesn't have access to internet right now.
Yeah, this is a mid-America. Listen, guys, like I have this down pat. This is somebody mid-America, most likely, but this is an American. He talks like an American. There's no syntax you can come up with. There's just a way that this person says, this is American. It could be a girl, could be a boy, could be old, could be young, could be a group of people. I don't know.
Right.
Let's see. Russian and Chinese are most difficult languages. The countries are run by criminals. You will not find a job there without speaking those languages. Is Leah Q? Maia keeps saying, is Leah Q? Is Michelle Q?
It's totally not me. You guys know there's no way it's me. It could be Patriot Gallery, though.
Somebody says, watching Trump in his first rally, I knew he would win. Adeline says, we are Q. Q is the only reader of questions and clues. Breadcrumbs, if you will. That us, the Anons, artists, bakers, seek to make the loaf and the bread. So I love what you said there. Ensure any deceased relatives have been removed from the archive of voter rolls before the next election. Maybe Alex Jones is Q. Shut down and bulldoze the Bohemian Grove.
Alex Jones is not Q. You know how I know that it's not Alex? Q shows too much restraint.
Yeah.
Alex ain't got it.
Yeah, that's
He doesn't
true.
have it.
Somebody says, we have it all from the NSA. Trump knows it all. Q is white hat military agents based in New Zealand. I don't know. Leah, you're great. I am Q. You're Q. We are Q. And so they were resigning en masse with their stolen money.
Some of you may want to know what that whatever, 1G, it's where we go one, we go all. Just for those of you that see it everywhere and they're like, what is that? What is that? And that's what it is.
So somebody, Lux Diamond says, not China nor Russia. Q is military intelligence group working for and with POTUS. Could be. That might be why they, an insider group. And so, all right.
Yes, we can do that first.
All right. So, Patriot Gallery, we were up all last night painting her room.
Now,
and so
do you guys remember the shirts that we got that said... they had this 1950s Leave It to Beaver couple on the front.
There are only two genders.
And it says, roses are red, violets are blue. The number of genders is only 2. We actually got another shirt from the same person. Now, this one is addressed to Patriot Gallery. And it says,
this
now,
shirt.
I don't know if you can see it, but it says, real eyes, like eyeballs. Real eyes, real lies. Do you get that? Did you follow that? Real eyeballs, real eyes, realize, real L-I-E-S.
I have to tell you, this is perfect for Patriot Gallery.
It is. It's absolutely perfect for Patriot Gallery. Now, it's from a foreign person, or at least it came from a, it says Deutsche Post, so it came from Germany, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the name on the front says Dale from Philadelphia. I don't know if, I'm not really sure how this works, but if it is a person named Dale, thank you, Dale. I don't know who these are from. They're like ordered and sent or something. So thank you. I love that shirt. It's so perfect. It's perfect for
awesome.
Patriot Gallery. Now, once again, we have people ordering. And listen, I actually don't blame you guys. If you're going to send us stuff, do it this way. Save on shipping, right? Because if you order it straight from, and this came from eBay, straight to us, that's great. But we have no idea who sent it when you do this. It's called the Sting Ring. Okay, now somebody had sent us a taser that was big, like handheld. You could put it on their belt. I think it's by the door to just grab and go. But this is something that you can literally put on a key ring like this. It kind of makes me nervous to put on a key ring. This is the safety button right here, right there, which I'm going to put tape over. I actually am going to carry this around. But anyway, Leah told me I wasn't really allowed to do it. But anyway, you're supposed to hold it like this. And then this red part goes against your palm. And then this is going to go to somebody's face. Whoa, hot dog. Fantastic. So thank you, whoever sent these. There's 2 of them. And they're rechargeable. In case the charge runs out because you used it too much. I'm thinking more or less if it like dies. But there are literally, somebody sent 2 of these. Yeah. Thank you. strike and stun, designed to defend, squeeze and stun, easily concealed, small and lightweight, safety feature, rechargeable. So yeah, I think that this is, I mean, there's a picture there. It shows you how to hold it just like that. Tell me this is not awesome. So thank you to whoever sent this via eBay. I'm going to guess it's not the person on the eBay shipping thing. But we are going to, we are going to take these, with us. So that's our mail call for today. However, Leah asked me the other day, I want to get to, like, I got an email, from Kevin. He says, hello, Michelle and Leah. With what's happening to InfoWars, I'm deleting my account to Facebook and I'm still debating about banning YouTube. Will you put your videos on Real Video or other alternative sites? I don't want to lose contact with your videos, especially since you're fellow Ohioans. I'm joining Freedom Book, which is the conservative alternative to Facebook, but it is not really popular. Nevertheless, I'm doing this out of principle. This person is, Kevin is from Ohio. So yes, we're going to be putting content on Real.video. And then I'm see if I can find, I had another email the other day that I had wanted to read, and now I'm not even going to be able to find it right off the bat. Sorry about that. But anyway, so what I want to go to next as we're rounding off our show is Kelly PB Fam, who is going to be going live with Chris at 9 p.m. on Chris Holman's channel. I have no idea the topic for today, but when you finish watching here, take a break, get some popcorn, and then hop over to Chris Holman's channel and visit with them in the chat. If you're not subscribed to his channel, do so now. So anyway, here is, now you guys remember that Kelly came to visit us and they bought some of our pigs and went home with them. Now, this is her granddaughter. And there's a video here.
No, pet your piggies.
Tell me they are not adorable. Tell me this is not fantastic.
Come pet your piggies.
I mean, seriously.
Oh my gosh.
They don't scare you. They're nice. Come on.
This is so cute.
No, I don't. Listen to that one.
I love her little boots.
I love her boots. Yeah, they're adorable. And there are the pigs.
She's
they're
fine.
Really, really cute.
Chevy. Thank you.
Look at how cute. So, thank you for that. Now, I want you to leave I'm leaving my earphones in. Stick with me a second.
Beautiful bacon.
For those of you that have wondered about Grandma Marilyn, who is this amazing woman that we keep talking about? I made this post on my Facebook and I wanted to share with you. She and I took this picture 2 days before she went into hospice, and she asked me to post this after she passed away. I've got videos here. After she passed away, and said, I will see you all on the other side in glory. So I saved that picture because I was going to post it that day, and she said no to save it. This is Leah and I and Grandma Marilyn. She used to always love to wear these hair pieces. It's so absolutely adorable. She always had a flower in her hair. This is Leah and Grandma Marilyn and I
She
here.
loved to have her picture taken.
She loved. She would take selfies. So we're compiling something. I'm doing it with her daughter for the memorial service that's going to be next Friday, a week from today. And I'm going through all of her pictures yesterday on her computer, and it's just like a million selfies. She was a spitfire. She had an incredible sense of humor. This is Kansas, Grandma Marilyn, myself, and Justin, the young man that we helped through Teen Challenge. And then there's Jasper down there. So this is me and Grandma Marilyn. This is actually a really old picture. I want to say, let's see, 2011. I think there's one here of Leah. No, this is actually recent. 2006. Okay, I'm like an old person. It seems fairly recent to me. This is just from this past January. That's that same set. That would be from 2006. And she loved flowers. So there's that. Now, I want to show you her in action. All right. This is Grandma Marilyn. She's a spitfire. We had just gotten our first set of pigs, 2 pigs that we were raising out for meat. She was terribly concerned that Leah and I were going to become too attached, and she thought maybe Justin and Matt would not be able to do it. And then I reminded her that they're for meat and that Justin and Matt are going to want the meat. And so this is the video of her response.
We're talking about the pig, a potential pig that we may get in the spring.
Okay, so we hadn't gotten them yet.
And I was saying that you were worried
that I won't be able to kill the pig.
Exactly.
And you suggested that we go get somebody to kill the pig.
Right.
And I said, well, I think that Matt and Justin would be able to take care of that.
Oh my God. Matt and Justin, for the bacon, they kill your mother. Oh, believe me. And Uncle Jack too, if he looked big enough.
And Uncle Jack too, if he looked big enough. So I've got
She
one more.
did that all the time. Like that's all. That's like,
yeah.
She was just so funny.
So this is one that I caught of her. This is just video. These are just videos from my Facebook. I'm trying to find the one that I'm looking for. Here she is. She's fixing her hair up.
Why do you look this good?
Because I showered and washed my hair this morning. Isn't it pretty?
It is pretty. You look excellent.
I look better if I pull it up.
But you look good all the time.
Here.
That's Grandma Marilyn. So I actually have some other videos and I couldn't find them. But I wanted to share our Grandma Marilyn with you guys so you could have an idea of her personality and who she is. She always had a quirky thing to say. Whenever we went to the hospital or doctor's visits, everybody loved Grandma Marilyn. She would just, no filter. Things would fly out of her mouth, but she always made you feel special.
Redneck Survivalist.
It's your birthday.
Show,
That's right.
High point of my birthday. Happy birthday.
Okay, happy birthday, Redneck Survivalist. Now, Redneck Survivalist.
Don't get attached
I
to your
think,
bacon.
correct me if I'm wrong here, and if I'm getting this wrong, I'm going to feel really bad. You had sent me a video of when we were going to do the accent challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I saved it in my inbox forever, and now it's not in my inbox anymore because I was going to actually play it because we never did the accent challenge because none of y'all submitted your best accent of whatever. I would love for you guys to do that, but I want you to resubmit that if you can find that email and find that video and send it to me. I think that wraps up everything that I wanted to do for today, but I did want to
2 hours straight.
I did want to tell you guys that we are official. We are a business in Ohio. Resistance Chicks is a business. Lee and I are partners, 50-50. We have our agreement. I've gone to the bank because we had a very generous gift from Paul G. I'm just going to last name G. And it was a check. And I couldn't cash it because it was written to Resistance Chicks. Now, we've been meaning to get an EIN number so that Lee and I can split for tax purposes for the ads that we're not even really making money on anymore. But I've been meaning to do that for a while. So I have officially done that. And so now technically Resistance Chicks is a business in Ohio.
I'm just kidding.
It registered under the state of Ohio. Resistance Chicks is a business. So I don't even know why that's important, but I was excited to tell you guys about that. So I would love to read more letters on air. I don't know how many times I have to tell you guys that. Please send us letters. I want to read what your personal story is, how you got red pill, whatever you want to say on air. Please send us your letters. P.O. Box 107, Milford, Ohio 45150.
And I think for us, like, the letters keep us grounded and connected to reality.
I don't know how many times.
Email is great. Go ahead and send your emails. Send your stories. And that's quick.
But sometimes emails get a little bit lost in the shuffle because I get
want us to really see them.
Like 150 a day. Just from viewers. So
how old was Grandma Marilyn, Michelle?
Grandma Marilyn was 82.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for something. If maybe you could tell them how she is our Grandma Marilyn while I'm trying to find something here.
Okay, so our Grandma Cordis.
It's right down there.
Okay.
Leah's gonna pull a picture here.
So we live in the house. This is our Grandma Cordis's house. Okay, this is
we
the house
bought
that my mom grew up in.
In 2010.
Yeah. So we moved in to take care of her and our Uncle Jack. And we took care of her for 4.5 years. And then she passed away suddenly. Not going to go into that. It's really sad. And we were really close to Grandma Cordis. But Grandma Cordis' best friend was Grandma Marilyn. And they were hilarious. 2 pigs in a pod. And we would always go down to Grandma Marilyn's. And we'd kind of like vent about Grandma Cordis. Because Grandma Cordis was special. And she was a little bit...
we loved her to death. But she was a hard woman.
She was hard. And... so we would vent and things like that. And Grandma Marilyn was just actually absolutely hilarious. And we all have different family members in our lives that can treat us badly. And we did too. We had another uncle not who lived here, and 2 aunts who wanted to control us and manipulate us. And after my grandma died, it was a really huge struggle for 2 years with them. We ended up buying this house and taking care of Uncle Jack. and they just made our lives a living nightmare. So we go down there, and Grandma Marilyn would just be there for us. We would clean for her, and she would be our like a little emotional support system. And we just clicked, and we just connected. And this was
she's the one that started. We didn't start calling her Grandma Marilyn. Mm-mm. She literally started calling herself.
You're my
Grandma Marilyn. You're my granddaughters.
Yeah.
And
so we've known her since 2005. She's been best friends with my grandma for years and years and years.
Forever.
And for the past 13 years or so, we've just kind of been her extra hands when little things needed to be done. And we got a kick out of her stories, and she'd send us home with cookies, and it was just like she was a real grandma, so it was really cool.
She was a real grandma in the fact that, like, if we did things that upset her, like, she pulled no punches. You know what I mean? You kind of, like, felt the wrath of Grandma Marilyn even sometimes, like, but it really wasn't. But she had her own kind of, like, even temper, even at us. That's how close we were. You're not that kind of close with just anybody.
She had a sordid past. And she was a little bit like the woman at the well.
Yeah.
And she had been married 4 times. And the guy she was with, she wasn't married to, Skippy, who we love
still take care of.
Help him out.
He's really taking it hard. Pray for him.
Through all this whole situation of her passing, God has allowed her to bring healing and closure to this family. And it's been a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
And we kind of are...
We said we feel like... through the whole hospice situation, and it's an emotional roller coaster.
Like, we're close to her, but then, like, and we've been the people that we felt like that were closest to her the past few years.
But then all of these people came forward, and they were all so strong, and stories were shared, and we were able to kind of step back into the shadows. And we felt like, do you guys remember Touched by an Angel? Tess and what was the other one's name? Monica. We kind of felt like Tess and Monica, where, you know what, we were only supposed to be here even for an interim. So
hey, Jay,
it still is difficult. Earlier upstairs I was doing bookkeeping, and I'm going through and remember, this all happened very fast, and I'm going through my purse, and I've got like a brand new doctor's card of hers that I pulled out. I've got her inhaler in my purse. I have, I pulled out a list of meds that I needed to, and I'm sobbing because our time with her was so special. Whenever we were with her, it was laughter, it was fun, or it was deep, and we were always talking about really deep things in the midst of all, and her relationship with Skip was like a movie. She'd sit on the table, that table you just saw her in the video, and Skip would sit in a chair over here, and he's kind of hard of hearing, but not really. It was mostly selective hearing. And she'd sit in that chair, and she'd go, "Skip!" like that, didn't she? Like, and she'd yell it, "Skip!" And he, "What?" And she's like, "Are you listening to me?" Ah! I mean, it was just... It was like that. And then, whatever happened to such and such in 1975? I don't know. I mean, it was their relationship.
Well, Skip talked to her on the phone. The hospital said, "I need you to come home because I need somebody to yell at me."
Yeah.
Because that's what they did. She just constantly yelled at him. It was
that's all in fun. It was all in fun.
So Mike Skidmore says he does business with the Cordes family in Grand Rapids.
Probably not the same Cordes.
You never know.
It might be.
You never know.
Could be blood, for sure.
She was a real pistol. Both Grandma Marilyn and they're just special people. I wish you could. And somebody said, I wish I could be a fly on the wall with their conversations. Oh my gosh, I will tell you. So. They met at the American Legion. And you guys might be aware that all over the country there's these American Legion halls.
And then there's the auxiliary, which is the women.
Auxiliary.
You would think it would be like knitting and bake sales.
No, Jack. These are some rough, cussing, smoking, drinking women.
Right.
And it's
all of the women that have that raspy voice because they've smoked for 65 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's these women.
And drank. And that's, my grandma, she actually got hypnotized. My grandma Cordes got hypnotized not to smoke or drink anymore. But it kind of would just come back, and it was just funny. So my grandma at one time was like the president or the vice president. They would have like just the gossip chain and the stories they would tell about the other women. Sorry, other women, if you're watching at the American Legion. Watching. Just the gossip that would go on and the anger that they would have over these stupid things. Was it? Yeah. They would get so angry they fight. They get fighting mad. That fight actually kept them alive.
I want you to see this innocent little face here. Just as Leah's talking about this, that innocent, no. Not nearly as innocent as
she knew that
as
I
she
had
looks.
gone to school to be a minister, so she tried to censor when she was around me.
She did try really hard. All right, so one last thing that I want to do since we were doing a mail call, and that is go to our Facebook page. We get messages on Facebook.
I have not
very, very frequently.
been looking at the messages, looks like, until sent for a week, and I'm really sorry.
Joseph says, I enjoy your news summaries and that sometimes often you give a unique viewer insight on a current event that no one else has come up with. I think I share your videos on Facebook 2 to 3 times a month. You deserve more views, and you are funny too. So then I want to get to this one from Jaylene. Jaylene says, please pray for me. I am diagnosed with leukemia, fighting for life. Love you guys. So I do want to take a minute, and I want all of us as a group, let's see how many people are still with us. All right, we got 60 people here. Jaylene, we're about to have 60 people, and then however many people after the fact that watch this, pray for you and stand in the gap for you fighting for your life with leukemia, which is an incredibly difficult disease to go through. Do you want to pray? Or do you want me to?
Sure, yeah. Father God, we just lift up Jaylene to your hands right now. We plead the blood of Jesus over her body from the top of her head to the bottom of her feet. We speak life into her body. I pray, Father God, that you create healthy white blood cells to combat any disease. I pray that you would flow through her the anointing and the peace of God on her mind. I pray that any surgeons or doctors that she goes and sees will be led miraculously by the Holy Spirit. I pray that you would give her family peace and comfort. And I pray, Father God, that your healing hand will touch her right now in the name of Jesus Christ. And we say to that leukemia, you have no place in her body. She is a child of God. And I pray, Father God, your healing hand would just move on her right now in the name of Jesus, and that you would give her wisdom and knowledge and peace, and she would abide in your presence and under the shadow of your wings. And we ask this, Father, in the name of your Son, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right, you guys, we are going to sign off here. Thank you for being with us for over 2 hours today, but we had a lot to cover, and it's been a while since we've been able to spend some time with you guys, because you guys are like family to us. Thank you for all of your prayers. I got so many messages after Leah's post about me being with Grandma Marilyn and why we couldn't go live last Sunday, and your outpouring of support is overwhelming. I've had personal messages, so thank you guys for all of that. Thank you to our moderators who were here today, doing a fantastic job. Don't forget to go to Chris Holman's channel.
Kelly, they're going to do sex trafficking in Hollywood and deep states.
Okay, that's a hot topic. Fantastic. If I can pop in for a second or two, I will, to say hey in the chat. All right, they want a song. We've already gone really late here, and we're still working today. So we've got doggies to let out and the natives to feed and whatnot. So we are going to sign off, but we will see you back in 2 days because it's Sunday for our European and UK news. Also, we will not be here next Friday for our show because it's going to be Grandma Marilyn's memorial service. So we will maybe do a show on Thursday, I think. That would be a good plan. So let's plan on next Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time instead of Friday for our weekly roundup show.
Adios.
All right, you guys. God bless.
I was cold.